All right, so this week we are going to dive into, as you heard, talking to Justimus Prime, Jesse, Mr. Hollywood. He is back. He has graced us with his glorious ability to be in this studio.
Thank you. I pride myself on my ability to exist in places.
Yeah, I know, right? It was pretty fantastic. You know, you just materialized here and it was like,
I did.
Recording.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
You just kicked open my door and
violently. It was a little intimidating. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you were quite manly in that moment.
I was. There was a tear in my shirt right where you would expect pecs to be, but there were no pecs. It's just kind of a little
tear.
It's just hair.
Just tear and hair.
All tear.
So, no, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been eons since we've sat down into this forum and had a chit chat. I'm excited because it'll be another fun adventure through fandoms and nerdisms and everything in between.
Yeah, a little peek into the mind of Justimus Prime.
Yeah. It's what we want. We want to crack that open.
Crack it open.
And then pour that juice into all your ear holes. Right?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you should be. I'm excited. you can't tell how excited I am in this moment. So we are with it. There's no coffee in today's podcast because it's a weekend. And what do you do on the weekend?
What do you do on the weekend when you work in, the field of education? You have a beer.
There you go.
That's it's kind of standard operating procedure. They don't tell you that in the training per se. It's heavily implied, but it's just one of those things you figure out on your own. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
You realize it, you need it, you crave it, you desire it.
Yeah.
So
and then you have one, and it's like, oh. Yeah, I'm just going to keep doing that. Yeah, 100%.
So I'm being pretty basic today. I just cracked into an old Yale lager. Kept it nice and simple as I consume this frothy
It is
brew.
a Fraser Valley lager, though. So it is not only not basic, it is a representation of our home.
True.
You are drinking our home right now.
That's right. All the fish and trash, all of this from the riverbeds. But no, it was just sounded good at the time. So sometimes a lager is good.
It's a good choice.
Smooth. I find that's all I'm drinking now. I'm either drinking like local stuff. I'm not drinking really anything else. It's Old Yale or it's Bricklayer. I do have Positive Contact upstairs. I almost grabbed one of those, but I'm pretty sure Katie would give me the stink eye if I brought one of those down right now.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to risk that.
No.
There's it's not worth it.
I've got toys at stake. So.
Well, yeah, because your birthday's coming up, right? You don't want to, or will it be?
It may have already passed.
It may have already passed.
I don't know when this episode drops.
When does this episode drop?
This is it part of the ether.
Once again, we are coming to you in the future from the past. So
exactly. That's how it works.
The days of future past.
February was a weird month for us, so we didn't really record.
February was, I think, a weird month in general.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone said, gosh, this was such a nice normal February. Boy, I really enjoyed the normalness.
Does anyone though? Does anyone say February is good?
I would assume who I would assume loves February is Ned Flanders. I feel like February is like his July, where he's just celebrating constantly because it's, it's the month of love. It's the weather makes it feel like we're living in a land of bland pea soup fog, which I feel like would appeal to him.
Yeah. 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 It was been pretty. Yeah. I don't know. February is just a weird one.
We had Family Day, which was nice. So we got a bit of a long weekend.
Did you go anywhere?
Did I go anywhere? No, absolutely not. I did not even spend Family Day with my family. I got about as far away from my family as I could. And it's not that I don't absolutely love my family, but, I had plans and they were not related to my family. And as much as I love spending time with them, I love, also not. So thank goodness none of them will be listening to this.
I don't know about that.
But back
I'll make
to
sure it happens.
But back to the beer. I am drinking a blood orange wheat ale from Trading Post Brewing, and on deck, because the can is nearly empty, I have a lemon Raz Radler from Russell Brewing Company. I've never had either of these. I'm quite enjoying.
You're one in and you're just ready to go. This is going to be
enjoying this a lot. It's delicious.
You might.
I am enjoying the blood orange wheat ale. It's a bit of a stronger beer, but it's quite pleasant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it actually taste like blood oranges? Or more like wheat?
You know, I feel like I wish I could claim that I can discern the difference between an orange and a blood orange, but I just kind of has a little bit of a citrusy vibe to it, and I'm cool with that. You know?
Well, if you were into dark magic, you would know that it would be richer in flavor.
If I was into dark magic, yes.
So
unfortunately, I'm into only the whitest of magics. So
what is the whitest of magics? This is getting racist.
No, it's just, you know, like
rocking a hard place right now, huh?
So yeah, this is really good beer. Woo.
Would you recommend your blood orange wheat ale? I just realized it was an ale.
If you were looking for a beer that tastes strongly of orange and not of beer, then I would say no. But if you enjoy your beer with maybe just a hint of orange to it, then I would absolutely recommend this, because these, I've actually had a few of these fruit themed Trading Post ales, and they're quite delicious. They're quite well crafted, and yeah, I would recommend it. Look it up.
Nice. Trading Post, it's from Langley, isn't it?
Well, let's look at the can.
Detailed into the fort of the Langley.
It is indeed from Langley.
Ye old Fort Langley.
Ye old Fort Langley, which is not too far from here. Yeah. We're actually quite blessed with the number of breweries in British Columbia and in the Fraser Valley alone, and they keep growing and expanding. In fact, our correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our hometown is getting its own craft brewery. Another one.
I know there's one going over across the river.
Yeah.
There's they're everywhere.
Yeah.
There's more. I think there's more breweries than Starbucks is now.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not more than Tim Hortons, but there's more.
No. Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Because we keep losing Starbuckses.
That's right. We do. All the ones that don't have drive-through seem to be disappearing, which is sad, because there's one downtown that I frequented quite often, and it's gone. And because I frequently use public transportation, it was right kind of in the hub of all that public transportation, and it is now gone. And now I have nowhere to sit and look pretentious as I, choke down my dry coffee cake with a slightly warm cup of coffee. And I miss that. I miss that part of myself.
You should. That takes away from a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot of my persona is looking pretentious.
Well, then you just need to walk further downtown.
Ew.
No, that whole district's looking really nice.
That's true. That's true.
Smoking
There
gun
is
down
the smoking gun, and I've never been to.
And
the
that's a
smoking
great
gun.
place. And then there is Fieldhouse.
Yes.
And Bricklayer.
And Bricklayer. Yes.
And Bowen Stern does have their own brew as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
I've never
been there because it's all fish. So
right.
So
that would you could have the French fries.
I can have French fries anywhere.
You can have French fries anywhere though. So why
would you? Which I really want French fries. I don't know why.
Really?
But fries lately, I'm just like, I'm on a fry kick.
Can I confess something to you?
You had fries?
No. Well, yes, sort of. Recently. Okay.
Or you don't like fries?
No, I absolutely love fries a little too much. My confession is that yesterday for lunch, I had chicken wings with curly fries.
Nice.
And a side of potato wedges.
Oh, nice.
And then that night I went home and had French fries for dinner. And this morning there were hash browns at breakfast.
Wow. You said fried potatoes and you just slathered it all over yourself.
I was getting in touch with my Irish roots, I think.
Your inner potato.
My inner potato.
You're like, how can I become more of a potato? Eat more potatoes.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think really it has to do with wanting to be loved, because who doesn't love potatoes?
That's
deep
true.
down, right? I want to
Especially when
connect.
they're
I want to be when they're fried, when they're vodka, when they're mashed and covered with delicious gravy. I mean, yeah, it's like who it's a warm hug. It's a warm hug in vegetable form.
True.
Yeah.
And then you don't even have to have them warm when they're chips.
You don't even have to have them warm. Oh,
When they're chips, they're just
Potato
crunchy
chips.
little morsels
See?
of heaven.
they're just always there for you.
Yeah. Potato is probably the greatest thing ever created
It is.
because it's so versatile. For salty, delectable, face transportational deliciousness.
And the fact that they're vegetables, so everything made from potatoes is healthy. I mean, that's just a bonus.
course.
That's just a bonus, right? Oh, so lucky. So lucky we live in the world we live in. Yeah.
And now I'm just even more jealous. Now I'm going to want more potatoes now. I don't know why, but I want fries. I don't want chips. I want fries.
I want onion rings.
Interesting.
Do you know Old Yale stopped making their onion rings?
Really?
Isn't that sad?
Did not know that they stopped making the onion rings.
Yeah.
But they did get hummus.
They did get delicious hummus.
Yeah.
I will say that.
And
yes.
So there's that. But I didn't know they stopped their onion rings.
Yeah. I asked them. They denied me.
Their dill pickle chips.
Maybe it's a race
pickles?
thing. I don't know. Do you think do you think you just denied me onion rings, or do you think they actually? Whoa.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Okay, I need you. You need to go to Old Yale and order onion rings and see if they give them to you.
Well, was it on the menu?
No.
Well,
that's not the point.
That's not the point. I wanted onion rings when I was there.
Okay. It was technically, yes, it was on the menu because one of the burgers says it comes with an onion ring or onion rings on it.
Well, now I got to look it up.
So
you're going to have to keep talking while I look something up.
So clearly they are capable of making onion rings. So the fact that they did not offer me onion rings or allow me to order them was a choice. Okay, that was a choice. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that it was based on race. It could be based on, other things like the fact that, as you say, they were not technically on the menu. But I can't help but feel that this was somewhat of a personal slight. I've enjoyed their onion rings so many times in the past. They're delightful.
They're not on the menu.
Yeah, they're not. Okay, but they're on a burger. There's a burger. I think it's the smoky burger.
They're not on the burger anymore.
Well, they
replaced the onion rings with the hummus.
See, and that surprises me because here you are replacing a vegetable product with beans.
Yeah.
Like, beans? Really? I mean, I love beans. They're great, but are they better than a vegetable? I mean, a plate of onion rings is basically a salad.
Pretty much.
Right? And if, a
crunchy salad.
It's a crunchy salad. I think we should all be encouraged to eat more vegetables. And I feel like limiting our options and replacing vegetables with beans is really just kind of a slap in the face.
Well, they got like fancy here. Like they ended up doing, it's called West Coast Toast. It's a mini pretzel bread with vodka and beet cured salmon, pickled onions, and beer pearls.
And they can't make onion rings. They can make that, and they can't make onion ring. Okay, now I know this is personal.
Right?
This is definitely 100%.
They saw personal. You and they said, "Nope, not happening." So that's what went down. Well, because the burger now has bacon jam.
You know what's that bacon jam? But not the regular burger. I'm talking about the special burger. Do they not have the sliders and the Smoky Mountain burger or whatever?
They have the sliders.
Okay.
Oh, they do. Oh, they have the smoky, the fried onion ring on the
Thank you. Validation.
On the burger.
See?
So they can only make one at a time.
They have a very tiny deep fryer that can only accommodate
one fried onion ring. One fried onion ring.
See? You see? The conspiracy grows. The plot thickens.
There you go. That's the answer. That it's just that.
It's okay. So they just have a very limited fryer capacity.
They've got maybe like 4 onion rings. a day.
That's all they prep in the day, so they only have time to do 4
Because they're so
rings.
big, right? They just throw out the rest of the onion. They keep that one single ring from each onion.
Maybe it's like a super, I don't know. We could go on about this for a long time. Apparently.
We are 15 minutes in talking about onion rings.
Well, we've also talked about beer.
And chips.
Potatoes.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely probably need fries now.
Okay.
Well, you can't get your onion rings, but I'm gonna get fries.
Okay. Well,
the hummus is good though.
The hummus is good. I will say it is
with those campfire pita chips.
Yeah.
I'm gonna crack a beer.
I love that Ooh.
That sound.
That's some ASMR right there.
Yeah. Right.
Ooh.
How many people just got thirsty?
Yeah. I know I did. And I'm already drinking, so
well, we had to redo that nice and quietly then, like that, nice and close, and then I just got thirsty. Right, and there you go. See,
yeah.
So wherever if you're on the bus, you'll suddenly want a beer, and you'll just pull that bell and hop off to your closest brewery.
Well, luckily, I always keep a spare. with my
spare beer
EA supplies, it's I think that's pretty
pop one out of your bag.
Right? Well, you don't do it in front of like the students. You go to the staff room, you go to the bathroom, you turn the tap on and the fan, you crack it very delicately, you chug it, and then you walk back to class. Belching profusely.
You always need to crack a beer loudly. There's something satisfying about that just that crack.
Yeah. Well, that's why you put the tap on and the fan, and then
I think that was my favorite part of camping last year. I just go over the cooler, just crack one and pound half of it.
And then you're in the woods, so it's just echo, crack, crack, crack.
So by the time you've finished the echo, you've already drank half your beer, and you're just in this moment, I am a man. Right. So
yes, manlyhood.
Yeah,
linked to alcohol since forever, since its creation. I guess. Right? Yeah.
See, that's what we need to go camping then.
Yes,
and drink a lot of beer.
Yes,
light things on fire, cut wood, all those things that men do.
We would not have done well during Prohibition.
We would have made beer in the bathtub.
You think so?
Or something.
Yeah,
would have put hair in your chest or burnt the hair off your balls. So.
Well, for making it in the bathtub, it might put hair in your cup as well.
So why are we here? Why are you listening to me talk to Mr. Hollywood, Gesimus Prime? No, Peter Pan Wendy did not come out. I know we promised that. But we wanted to record more because I have fun talking to him, and it's the beauty of having someone in the town that is in the same values as us for nerd-isms and all that fandom-esque stuff. So that's the thing that makes it really fun to have Jesse back. Now, with that,
yes. There was a reason. Beyond potatoes this year.
But do we really need more? And that's where this episode ends. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
This is the quickest way to lose people. They're just like, what just happened here?
Next week, we tackle other starches. Pasta.
What are your thoughts on rice?
Little grainy.
Oh, the dad jokes are coming out. I thought that was a different episode you wanted to record.
Oh, just you wait.
What was it? Oh, I had a student that was talking to me about rice, and it was all like, hey, how do you cook rice? I was like, in my rice cooker, and he just was dumbfounded that I actually had a rice cooker. He's like, you don't use a pot? I was like, I don't like the mess. The rice cooker is fantastic because I just throw it in there, hit a button, and boom, it comes out perfect every time. I don't have to even think about it.
I always make it in a pot.
Yeah. I got tired of making it in a pot. I was just like, especially brown rice, it takes forever.
It does take a long time.
So I was like,
rice. Oh, you ever cooked wild rice?
Yeah.
Oof.
So I'm just like, nope, throw it in the rice cooker. They made rice cookers for a reason.
Yeah. They did.
That's what
for lazy people.
I will take it because it makes rice perfect every time.
You know, it does make perfect rice. And if you're going to eat a lot of rice, I think it makes sense to have a rice cooker.
It's fantastic. Every time I make rice in my rice cooker, I want to eat more.
Do you wash your rice?
I wash my rice.
That's good. That's good.
Like I rinse my balls.
Why would you rinse your meatballs?
Well, you got to sometimes.
I guess so.
Why are we here? Why are we here? Because we're talking about inspiration. We're talking about what drives us as human beings, what makes us shapes us, molds us, that magical clay that is spawned from the gods that brings us forth to create an individual. And with that, because I always give Jesse a hard time about his lack of movies.
Oh no.
That today is his time to shine, his time to tell me, and this is actually true. I do not know these questions. These answers. I know the question.
That's good because you had one job. So
one job and a couple beers later. The question is what movies inspired you, right? And so we're gonna delve deeply. We're going to peel back the VHS case and dive into that chemical base of film and find out what movies inspired or TV Jesse to be the human being that he is today. And we'll hope for at least 5 because I think that's a good. Odd numbers are good.
Odd numbers are good. I think
odd numbers are good.
Yeah.
I have an obsession with odd numbers. If you draw something or do anything visually, if it's not odd, then it's not worth my time. So if you draw me 2 things, I will slap you in the face and say, do it again.
So I couldn't help but notice that you've had an even number of beers.
Yeah, there'll be a third one.
Okay. Just checking.
Maybe not in this episode, but I think we're recording another one later. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, like odd numbers is a visually appealing thing, and you learn that in art class.
Yep.
You always do 3, 5, 7, 9. It just is more, right?
Well, that's why it's the Triforce in Legend of Zelda, and not the Quad Force, because who the heck would want a quest after that?
Right? There you go.
Exactly.
See?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
That's what I would do if I was a comic book writer. I'd really screw with people because everyone seems to want like 4 issues or like 12 issues. I'd be like, I'll do 9. Or I'll do 7.
Ooh.
Just really mess the system up.
You know what? Do like 11. 11. Oh.
And for all our teacher friends, we're looking at prime numbers here.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Education. No, it's the weekend.
I never told you. We went on a river walk. We're going to deviate. This is a fun little story.
Okay.
We went on a river walk and we got to a park and the kids wanted me to spin them on this spinny thing, right?
Yeah.
And they all had their legs out, and I was like, "You got to keep your legs in, right? Like you got to bunch up." And the smaller you guys get into this thing, I can spin it faster. And they're like, "Well, why is that?" And I was like, "Because if you put anything out there, you create wind resistance." And then they looked at me and went, "Mr. R, you're trying to teach us stuff on the river walk." And I was like, "The magic of science and physics."
But I mean, you're teaching them, but you're also just trying to help them have a good time.
Well, I was trying to make it easier myself. There was like 6 kids on this spinny thing, and I'm like, "You guys are like,
you'll be like,
that's like 600 pounds, right?" But yeah,
you're not as young as you once were,
right? No, not as young. No. Or when they were asking why coffee on the same walk, and they were like, why do adults say that? And I was like, well, our taste buds, they deaden as time goes over, and we find more enjoyment in bitter flavors and all that. And they're like, oh, is that why people like wine? And I was like, yeah, for some people, or alcohol in general, right? Like, you guys are pre-wired for sugary things to be able to put on weight and all that. And in that moment too, they had the like, you're trying to teach us things again. Stop trying to teach us things.
Just don't talk. Apparently,
right. I thought it was cool. I was able to actually be like, hey, check this out.
I think that's amazing. See, that's great, and that's what you have to do. I think sometimes is just get that knowledge into their heads any way you can.
Right. So
yeah.
If I made a TikTok video over it, then they would have been all over it.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Right. We're still doing that, right?
Oh, so here's something. This is something that I would love to know. Me and Jesse have talked about the idea of creating our very own TikTok. And our TikTok would be the Peacemaker dance only. in random places. So it could be him at some point doing the Peacemaker dance by himself. Could be both of us doing it. Could be me. But just the Peacemaker dance TikTok account. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's brilliant. And if anyone out there has a line on like a pre-trained eagle, that would be fantastic, because I'm not saying the eagle has to be in every video, but
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3 would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the feed, right? Every third one would have the eagle come in.
So, I mean, first we'd do one locally. We'd probably do one, in some of the major cities like Vancouver around here. Like we could do it in Stanley Park or on the seawall or something. I have not yet discovered John Cena's address, but we'll do it outside his house.
That makes sense.
I think you would really appreciate that.
Yeah. I figured this could be what we could do over the summer. We take the summer off, of course, right? Yeah. And we travel the world doing the Peacemaker dance.
Yeah. Yeah. Where does James Gunn live? We need to find James Gunn.
California.
Okay. So are we allowed to go to California?
I don't know if we can. Well, I think we can. We'd have to figure it out.
What if we just didn't tell anyone we were crossing the border? I mean, people do that all the time, right? Without consequence.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're considering.
So yeah, any feedback would be appreciated. Suggestions of locations too, of where you would like to see us do the Peacemaker dance. And if you are not familiar with the Peacemaker dance, first of all, shame on you. Shame on you. And second of all, please do go look it up. It is absolutely fantastic. It will brighten your day. And if it doesn't, then you have the deadest, blackest heart I think I have ever encountered.
It is the greatest opening in a television show ever.
Yeah. It's even better than, the Baywatch. And I mean, that's hard to compete with.
But does it rival one 80s cartoon?
Oh no. Oh no. No, it's
that has all the magic and mystery.
Gosh.
As part of your history.
Why are you doing this? Why?
Along with the secret of gummy bear juice.
Oh.
We're talking about the gummy bears.
Oh, are we? You don't. Gee, I kind of thought we were doing Thundercats for a moment. So, thank you.
This is the greatest part of my day, when I get to slip gummy bears into every conversation with Jesse.
Oh, and it's not just him that's doing it now. Oh no.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no. He's got literally his entire family trained to work against me now. And yeah. This is not a safe space. This is not a safe space, people.
I think it's a good bond. It's a good thing to have.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's time to drink.
It's time to drink.
No matter where you are, grab a beer. No matter what time of day it is, it's your time to enjoy a beer with us.
Yes.
So,
because if you can't enjoy a beer with us, you shouldn't even be drinking at all.
There you go. So this is the first drink of this lemon raz radler. Live on air reaction.
Well,
he's mulling it over. His eyes big.
I think I need one more little sip here.
He's debating. You can see the gears turning. Taste buds.
Okay, I can confirm. So this is basically soda water. Yeah, it is essentially very lightly alcoholized soda water. That's mildly disappointing. Russell Brewing Company, if you're listening, do better. Yeah. But hey, I am not one who would just not drink a beer because it was slightly subpar. No, I'm going to drink this beer. And then you know what? I'm going to drink the rest of them, because this is Canada.
There you go.
You know,
You can
and
drink the rest of them on air.
I'm not gonna drink the rest of them on air, probably, because then I would just spend the rest of the session peeing, and
You got a back door.
I would like
a
to
back door here.
there is a back door.
So
Do you have neighbors?
plethora.
Yeah, I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Although
6.
I suppose the more of these I drink, the more likely I would be, the more open I would be to some sort of peep show. But at this point, let's not go. These are also
I
like,
think you should save that portion of the Peacemaker dance in your tidy whities for later. Once we get more followers, do we
do a tidy whitey version?
I would say once we get a dip in subscribers, then we gotta amp it up, and it's gotta be the tidy whitey dance.
Okay, but tidy whitey with the helmet.
If someone can make us a helmet.
We don't need someone to make. We need like tinfoil and cardboard. And
Oh my god! Even better.
You know, we'll be dancing around the streets of Vancouver in our tinfoil hats, in our tidy whities, and what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing at all. I don't
Absolutely
see.
nothing
I see only fame and fortune from this idea.
Fantastic.
So, back on track.
Does this train have a track at this point? Really? I mean,
No, it's an ATV.
It's an ATV. It's not a
Going down a hill right now. There's been many potholes.
Oh yeah, you asked me something about movies or TV shows or something like that.
We're gonna go into what inspired you as a being. What crafted your innermost demons and humor and dreams and fantasies? What spawned you into everything that oozes you? And we're gonna go with 5.
Wow.
Do we want to go with like the 5th first or the first?
Oh,
first?
I didn't realize these had to be like in any particular order.
Well, okay, well,
like that's a lot of pressure, man.
I
mean, that's a definitive list, and I don't know if I can.
And if you want, you can suddenly play Under Pressure right now because that'll help.
Wait, you're the one with the ukulele.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
You haven't learned Under Pressure yet?
No,
That should be like day 1.
Yeah, no. So,
sorry. Carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever you want to do, however you want to go.
Okay,
I'm just throwing out ideas.
Right.
I'm spitballing here.
I'm gonna say probably the easiest would be no particular order.
So in order, exactly. That's what you're saying.
So in order.
I take whatever you say as in order. So this is a choose your own adventure moment. Either it's his top 5 in descending order, which that's what I'm thinking of, or it's he's just spitballing however he feels. That's where we're going.
All right, choose my own adventure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to open us up with actually a TV show, and it is probably not one that you would expect. It is an animated show because we're talking about my more formative years.
Yeah.
And that was Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Captain Planet.
Yes, Captain Planet.
I'm intrigued by this. I really am.
Yeah. So for those of you who were not born a million years ago, Captain Planet and the Planeteers was a series that was very heavily focused on environmental issues. All of the supervillains were basically out to pollute. And so the Planeteers were 5? Was there 5? Earth, water, wind, fire. 5 of them. Yes.
Yeah.
There were 5 Planeteers, and they were from all walks of life in different countries.
I just thought of the band when you said that.
Different walks of life across all over the globe. Sorry, flat earthers. And they were brought together by Gaia, the spirit of the earth. They were given these rings with 5 powers. No, this is not Lord of the Rings, okay? So the powers were fire, earth, water, wind, and heart. So, your basic elements with heart. I don't know why heart, but thematically it worked with the show. Anyways, so these they these Planeteers were able to use these rings to control, to a certain extent, their elements, and they were able to combine their powers by raising their rings aloft and speaking their element, and their powers would combine to form Captain Planet, who was a blue-skinned, green-mulleted gentleman who took down pollution. You know, as the theme song went, Captain Planet, he's our hero, gonna take pollution down to zero. Now, unfortunately, as the series unfolded, we never learned if he actually ever did take pollution down to zero. However, I like to think that, you know, maybe he did.
You've got that hope.
I've got that hope that he did.
The big business didn't crush him.
Yeah. The big business didn't, you know, big oil didn't just smother him. So, anyways, I'm not going to go into every single detail of the show because.
Oh, no. You got to like, what about the show that captivated?
Well, I'll talk about what about the show inspired me, but I'm just not going to go into like plot details and character descriptions and all of that stuff. So, so the first thing that appealed to me about this show was actually the environmental aspect, because as a kid, I'd never really thought much about the environment. I mean, this was before, global warming was in the news. This was, you know, before really, people were thinking about, more environmentally friendly choices. So for the first time here, I had this character, this really cool character, this superhero, who was fighting for the planet. And it really was the first time that I kind of thought more about the world as a whole, you know, and my world I realized that the world was a bigger place because they went to as I said, the Planeteers were all from different countries. So they traveled, all over the planet to stop polluters. And you know, it was the first time, I think, seeing that. Most of the cartoons that you watch as a kid, especially like 80s cartoons, they're either in some mystical, fantastical, magical, mysterious place, or, you know, like New York City, right? Or
True.
Gotham or something like that. So, you know, it was neat seeing kind of like a global, like a more global cartoon, and then also something that brought more of a global crisis. Shone a light on more the global crisis situation. Yeah. I think the really interesting thing for me was that it wasn't a typical superhero show, because typical superhero shows was all about, you know, fighting crime, stopping the bad guys, and this literally was about stopping pollution. So that, you know, maybe these villains in the show were just, you know, digging up a rainforest for natural resources, something that necessarily wouldn't be considered illegal, but at the same time is extremely harmful to the planet. So, that really opened my eyes, and I started asking questions about, you know, what can we do to save the planet. And there was always a little, you know, how cartoons of the era always had like a lesson at the end. So they always had like a little environmental tip. And I still remember a lot of those tips. That show is the reason that I actually turn off the water when I brush my teeth. I used to just leave the water running when I brushed my teeth as a kid. But because of that show, because of one of those little lessons at the end, I started turning off the water. So you think about, you know, that was many, many, many years ago, how much water's been saved just by myself. There you go. From Captain Planet. So, and then what else? What other little lessons did they have? Just about recycling. Like I'd never really been aware of recycling as a thing. So then I started asking questions. Well, do we recycle? Well, what do we do with our recycling? Well, why do we throw this out? Probably annoyed the heck out of my parents at the time. But yeah, it was, that I think was something that really opened up my mind more than any of like your standard cartoons, right? Yeah. Of the day.
So Captain Planet was from 1990. It had 6 seasons and 113 episodes.
Yes.
So it was created by Ted Turner, actually, which is ironic.
And if you look at the list of guest voices, you will see a surprising number of well-known names. For at least, I don't think it was the entire run, but for a good portion of it, the Gaia was played by Whoopi Goldberg. One of the Planeteers, Kwame, was voiced by LeVar Burton. And I feel like if you look at the villains, especially, there's quite a few well-known names, although nothing is really coming to mind at the time.
Well, we got Scott Menville, and he is Robin from Teen Titans.
Right.
You got Frank Welker.
Yes.
He was in there. Ed Eisner, Tim Curry, John Ratzenberger.
Yep.
Marisa Marsh, Margaret Kidder. Meg Ryan was in the show for 13 episodes.
That's right.
Martin Sheen had 12 episodes. Cam Clark, Jim Cummings, Jeff Goldblum.
That's right. Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
He was Verminous Scum.
Verminous Scum. Yes.
Yeah.
All of the villain names were like really bad.
Sting
puns.
Was in it for 4 episodes.
Sting was in it? I don't remember.
Zarm.
I don't remember that.
Hector Alonso. Cree Summer, of course. Only 2 episodes. Malcolm McDowell. So Fred Savage showed up. Phil Hartman showed up. So there's Neil Patrick Harris even was in there. So there's tons of Vanna White.
Vanna White. Now that's
a lot of 1 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Danny Glover. You know, there's a lot of like single episode.
That's true.
So I got to say something that you're probably going to be shocked and appalled and all that.
Yes.
I honestly never knew that Captain Planet was a full show.
Really?
I always only like when I was watching whatever it was.
Yeah.
It never was on my radar. And it only ever seemed to show up the timing that I was watching stuff.
Right.
As in betweens.
Oh.
So like
okay.
They showed a lot of messages and all that.
Right.
From it. So I remember the messages and like the little kind of like clips, but never full episodes.
Interesting.
So it was never in my wheelhouse. So like there's a big fandom for Captain Planet stuff, but like it's just not there.
Right over your head.
Yeah. It was one of those ones that just totally wasn't there. So,
well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm shocked, but I did know actually from our previous conversations that you hadn't watched a lot of it, but it's if you ever get the chance, you should check
Captain
it out.
Planet.
Yeah, Captain Planet. You know, and if you ever do find out if he took pollution down to 0, you gotta let me know. If anyone listening knows if he indeed did take it down to 0, please let me know.
I don't think he did. Reflected real life too much.
Oh no.
It's time for the Captain Planet revival.
Right?
How has that not been a
How has that show? There not been a reboot of that?
Because like the 90s was huge for environmental shows.
Yeah.
Because Captain Planet was there, yes. Toxic Crusaders talked about that. Biker Mice from Mars talked about that as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they were here to stop the toxic because their planet from Mars was destroyed by the right.
Yeah, I never really looked at it that way, but no, that actually makes sense.
So like there was those cartoons, and there was other ones too that talked more about.
That's interesting.
All that kind of pollution and whatnot, and it was such a big theme, and now that's not in cartoons. Right? No, we don't see any of that anymore.
But I mean, Biker Mice never affected how I brush my teeth.
That's true.
So, I mean,
that's true.
Is it as influential? Probably not. But
it did get a reboot.
It did get a reboot.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Captain Planet should get it. I would love to see that. I think that it could really easily be tailored to the environmental issues that we have today.
Yeah.
I think the messages that it shared are still incredibly relevant today. And yeah, I think the kids kids today need a hero that is championing our planet.
Yeah.
So
Because we only got one.
You
know, that's something like a lot of people are like, well, we're just going to go to Mars. And me and Kiddo were talking about it. I was like, do we really want to go to a dead planet and hope we have the technology to terraform and create something new?
Also, do we really think we're just going to do better on Mars? Like,
right?
Yeah.
We've got a planet. We're literally here. And you think it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be more expensive on Mars. Because all that stuff we're going to need to run. Like, it just seems like wouldn't it be better to just follow some of those things, you know, to make a better world?
It's like, you know, it's like when you have a really terrible song, right? And then someone comes along and is like, I'm going to remix it. And then, you know, you hear it on the radio and it's like, it's the remix.
Yeah.
And then it's just the same terrible song, but with like an overlaying disco techno beat on top of it. It's still the same. Like, we're still going to mess up Mars. It's just going to be like flashier and prettier and newer. And
so it's going to be like Total Recall.
We need to systematically change the way that we operate on our planet, I think, before we go and mess up another one. But that's just my opinion.
Right? No, that's a valid idea, you know? So do you have any characters? Like, did you want to be Captain Planet as a kid?
I wanted to be Wheeler. He was one of the Planeteers. He had the power of fire. And I just thought fire was cool. You know, fire's cool. I mean, you know, you play with fire, you get burned. But, you know, I think that was another thing that I learned from that show was the, volatility of fire and how to be that it was something that you needed to be safe around. Yeah. And you know, that it I think there was an episode where someone got a hold of his ring and tried to use it not knowing how and ended up burning Wheeler. And you know, he learned a lot about the consequences of playing with fire. So, there you go. There's another lesson learned.
So Wheeler was the redhead.
Wheeler was the redheaded kid from, I think he was from like New Brooklyn or.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the American of the group.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought power of fire was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he had that kind of like, he was like the ladies' man and like the suave kind of like.
So you didn't want to be Captain Planet? You wanted to be Wheeler?
Well, I mean.
Or was it because Captain Planet was trapped in a ring?
Captain Planet, you know, he couldn't just like fly off and do his own thing. He was like summoned by combining their powers when needed. So, you know, what happens to Captain Planet when he's not summoned by I mean, is he just...
He's torn apart,
chilling out in some alternate dimension? Is he just free floating energy waiting to be assembled? Either way, I mean, like, I'd rather spend my Saturday going out and getting a newspaper and a cup of coffee, right? I mean, I don't feel like free floating energy would really be my thing.
Yeah. But now with this, so I kind of want to see you dress up as Captain Planet for Halloween.
Well, I mean, have you seen the costume with the green mullet?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'd want to see me in that too.
Right. I really feel deep down that should be your Halloween costume next year.
You have a lot of opinions on my Halloween costume.
I do. I have lots of opinions on the Halloween
costume. Which is ironic because I usually don't even have a Halloween costume.
And that's the sad thing.
And that is the sad thing. Yeah.
Because like, could you imagine yourself walking in painted bluish green with a green mullet?
It's kind of like almost like a silvery blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a green mullet.
I think we should do that. I think I should figure
red
out.
Underwear.
I need to help you with that.
You want to help me become my inner Captain Planet. Be the best Captain Planet I can be.
Yeah.
And maybe take pollution down to zero.
Yeah. You could be that guy.
I could be that guy. I could dress up like Captain Planet just on a regular basis and, you know, become the greatest environmental activist the world has ever seen.
I think you should.
Maybe that's the reboot maybe that's the reboot. Maybe he's not like a superhero. He's literally just a guy with a green mullet and red tights who is an environmental activist.
That is the gritty reboot.
That is the gritty. And the reason his hair is green is because he has crippling anxiety. Like, and he's trying to hide from the world.
You just like Riverdale Captain Planet.
Oh, please, no. Please, let's not Riverdale any more things. Riverdaled enough things for me. God, it started off just a semi-normal little show, and
yeah, we stopped watching it.
Yeah, I did too. I don't remember when, probably a few years ago. I just like I can't choose to spend time on this anymore. I can't choose to take my valuable time. So it may surprise you to learn that Riverdale is not one of the shows that has influenced me as a person. Yeah.
I would assume not because of your age.
Because of my, what was that supposed to mean?
I'm just going to throw that out there.
What do you mean, you people?
Doesn't speak to your fashion sense of life. So
I can't tell if I've been insulted or not.
No, there's no insult. It's all. So Captain Planet. Yes. Planet. So others, if you have watched Captain Planet, comment about what made Captain Planet your jam.
And why it deserves to be rebooted. Because this is important. We need to start a campaign for this.
So what is the next influential entertainment media?
I think for the next one, we're actually going to go for a movie. Okay. And
not a potato.
It's about potatoes. How did you know? Oh my gosh. So the Great Potato Movie, which if you've never seen was actually Ron Howard's first film back in 1874.
Sputnik?
No, it was not actually a potato movie. So this is actually going to be a bit of a interesting one because it didn't actually come out until my teenage years. So how has that influenced how I've grown up? Well, believe it or not, as we have learned, your brain actually keeps developing into your early 20s.
Stop trying to teach us things.
Dang, I thought you. Oh, gosh. Sorry. All right. I apologize for that.
No, that was not. We teach all the time.
My intention was not to teach anyone anything. Clearly, given the amount of time we spend on potatoes. So this movie was a very important movie for me, and this is actually the first movie that I ever waited in line for, and I'm talking like. I lined up opening day 4 hours early, which, by today's standards doesn't really seem that early, given that there are people who will camp overnight over the weekend outside of theaters to be the first in line. But, in our sleepy little burg, we don't really have a lot of that. And we didn't really have a lot of big, huge movie theaters here either. So this was at the old Cottonwood 4 Cinema. Which was the big name in town at that point.
Yeah.
And it was the very first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Oh.
Now this was before really the big boon of superhero movies. It had sort of begun because at that point we'd had the X-Men come out, the first X-Men. So we were starting to see a little bit more, but it was not like it is now where there's at least 3 to 4 superhero movies a year, it seems, or more. It was still a fairly new genre. And there was not, this was of course well before the idea of the MCU where everything was connected to everything too. But this movie came out and I was excited because as you know, I love Spider-Man. He was my favorite growing up. I could talk for hours and hours about Spider-Man and potatoes, but I won't. But this movie, I remember, was one of the first times going to a movie where I had hopes and expectations. You know, you go to movies when you're younger, and you a lot of the times you go to movies just because, oh, hey, that looks cool. Maybe you saw a trailer on TV. Maybe you saw a trailer. But you know, this was the first time like I had been truly waiting for and anticipating this movie. I was super excited for this, and I lined up 4 hours early. I bought tickets for all my friends because none of them wanted to line up 4 hours early for some reason. I will say this though, I was not the first person in line.
Okay.
4 hours early, I was not the first person in line. I was the third.
Interesting.
Yes, there was 2 other people
Yeah.
ahead of me. One gentleman wearing a Jedi outfit for the Spider-Man movie,
Because that makes
complete sense.
Yeah.
You know, you want to wear, and then another lady who, at the time, at least to my young teenage mind, appeared quite elderly for a Spider-Man movie. But, you know, as I am becoming more elderly myself, I realize there is no age limit for enjoying Spider-Man. No. So, watching this movie, I was hooked right off the bat. The opening theme music, I don't know if you remember it, but it's Danny Elfman, and it just pulled me in. And like from the little opening cinematic credits, I was all in. I was like, okay, let's do this. This is going to be epic. And I was not disappointed by that movie at all. I had never, like I said, I'd never gone into a movie really with high expectations or high hopes for what I'd see, but I did with that one. I had high hopes, and it blew me away. I was so impressed, and it changed from that point. It changed my whole concept of watching movies, because no longer was I watching movies because I thought, oh, that might be fun, or oh, that's what everyone's watching. It was like, no, movies can be these amazing, like, life-changing experiences, and you don't have to just sit through a movie because everyone else is watching it. You can choose which movies you want, and you should choose which movies you want to go see. Yeah, because if you are in any way invested in the movie ahead of time, it just makes your experience much richer, and that much more exciting. So it was like this cinematic revolution inside of me, and I realized that you know, there is this world of possibility, and it made me want to watch more movies. Yeah, basically, like I wanted to know what else was out there, and I'd never been a huge movie person before that. I liked going to the theater, but you know, going to the theater, honestly, when I was younger, was more about, you know, getting popcorn and a soda. Yeah, well, hanging out, right? Yeah. So, but this was like, yeah, I mean, this was the first time I think my friends and I, after a movie, had deep discussions, and it's become quite a regular thing for us, you know, to have like a little debrief session now after films, and that was the first time that we ever did that. Yeah, and I think it just kind of changed the way that I saw movies and watched movies and I guess consumed pop culture in general. Really, it made me excited for movies. Yeah. So, well, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think so. It opened up that door. It did. Showed you something different, right? Showed me something I'd never seen, and gave me an experience that I had never before had. Yeah. At the movies. And yeah, I realized at that point, you could go to a movie and you didn't even have to eat popcorn. You didn't have to have a soda. You could just go for the movie. That's impressive. That's right? Impressive. So what is some of your favorite moments from that movie then? Oh,
If you could pick
gosh.
one thing about it to gush over in 5 seconds.
Well, I mean, one of the most stellar things about that movie, I think, is Willem Dafoe. He just embodies the character of the Green Goblin so well, and he's so terrifying in that movie and intimidating, both as the Goblin and just as Norman Osborn too. And I loved the Aunt May character. She just had that perfect, sweet wholesomeness. I think Tobey Maguire did a really good job as, you know, that sort of emotional, nerdy Peter Parker. Like, I think you really felt his struggles and his his heartache when his uncle dies, and his anger, and I think he really brought a sincerity and understanding to the character. So I think I think a lot of it had to do with the performances, and of course, the special effects I thought were great for the time too. I haven't watched it in forever. I don't know how well they hold up, but at the time it was all very impressive.
Yeah. Well, that's something you need to have a Radnesia moment. Yeah. You go back and watch it and see if it still lives up.
That's true.
Moments.
Is it still a Radnesia though? If I do, like, is that a patented thing?
Anytime you think a movie is rad and you've watched it in the past, you're having full Radnesia.
Oh.
Everyone can have Radnesia.
Wow. You should sell that. You should
Everyone
put that.
Should have Radnesia.
Yeah. You should sell it.
Because it's true.
Can you bottle Radnesia? Like, can you just like?
Well, yeah, but I don't feel like doing that. I don't think people will buy my fluids.
Well, yeah.
I'm not an e-girl. I don't have bathwater to sell.
Oh no! Please don't do that. Please don't, because then I'd feel obligated to buy it, and then I don't like, and then I just end up regifting it, and then I have to explain what it is, and it's just I'm not prepared to go down that road.
Radnesia water. Ode to Radnesia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, Spider-Man is a fantastic film. It's great. Like, the fact that Sam Raimi was able to bring that to the screen with its nods to the 70s and to really give us that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man vibe that they were going for was just fantastic. I feel like it hasn't aged super well in a lot of cases.
I'm not surprised.
But
it was 20 years ago.
At the same time, it's a fantastic film. My biggest complaint with the Spider-Man original trilogy is Mary Jane. Right. And that's the thing that bugged me the most. Actually, rewatching it, I still love Willem Dafoe. Still enjoy Toby as Spider-Man. It's Mary Jane. They did that character really dirty, right? But besides that, the experience that you talk about, we probably actually were at the same screening.
Yeah,
I just was too lazy to wait like you did. I was like, because my friends didn't give a damn about movies, right? I was usually dragging them. Right. They loved going to movies, but they just didn't care about when they went to movies.
Sure.
So Spider-Man, I remember going opening night. But did you go to midnight show? Was there midnight showings at that point, or was it just regular?
I don't remember them doing midnight showings.
No, I don't think it was yet.
If it was like a rare thing. Yeah. I don't think it was like...
I went to the midnight showing of Phantom Menace, right?
I went to the midnight showing of... The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
I remember that, but actually it was not just the midnight showing of that. It was, they showed the first two and then at midnight, the third one. So it was like an all day marathon of Batman.
But like now we have movies that they 7:00 on a Thursday night, and that's considered.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But like when we it was like Friday at midnight, or Thursday at midnight. That's what it used to be. But then it was just Friday. You just went at 7:00, right? That was your time.
Yeah.
So we probably were at the same showing, which is hilarious.
It is entirely possible.
Now, me and my buddies, we were always like, my one friend, he always had to sit 3 rows back.
3 rows back.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 rows back. That was his.
Okay, that is way too close.
Only go to movies at 3 rows back. So that for us, we could go pretty much at any time and get in because 3 rows back was pretty freaking close. Now, our old Cottonwood Fourth Cinema, 3 rows back was like 12 rows back at a Cineplex.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
Right? So 3 rows, yeah, that was kind of...
Yeah.
When you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Have you been to the Cottonwood for anytime recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Cottonwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. The seats. Have you been with the seats?
Well, they've got
now?
new seats.
They've got beautiful seats. They're awesome. And it's so cheap. It's just so much cheaper.
Oh, yeah. Still pretty rinky dinky.
It is. It really is. It feels like this was peak cinema experience for us back in the day. And, you know, I mean, I loved the Paramount downtown, but that was 2 screens.
Oh, yeah. The Paramount was classic.
Paramount. I watched a lot of great movies for the first time in the Paramount, like the first Fast and the Furious movie I remember watching at the Paramount. The first movie I ever went to was at the Paramount, and that was Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the dollar days and the toonie days. The weekend. Upstairs, top floor was always like the cheap movie.
Yeah.
It had maybe been out for a while. Still was a movie you could only see in the theaters. But you would go and you would have and you'd be upstairs.
Summer holidays, man.
3 flights.
I lived in walking distance.
Yeah.
And I would go $6. I'd get admission, popcorn, and a drink.
Yeah.
For those matinees. Like, it was ridiculous.
Age old.
And now that place is just gone. It's so sad.
Yeah, they repurposed. Smoking Gun has parts from there.
Do they really? Oh, that's
somebody
amazing.
else has some. There's some bricks, I think, at Bricklayers from there too.
Oh, I watched so many classic movies I watched there for the first time, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
The first time seeing that was at the Paramount. Yeah. And then there was Cottonwood, and that was peak. And then I remember when the Colossus in Langley opened up, and that was like, that was nutty.
Those were treks.
Yes. Yes. I worked the summer that it opened up. I was working in Harrison Mills, and so my friend worked with me. When we would on the weekends, we would go on Fridays. Usually we would take our tip money and we'd go to the Colossus.
Yeah,
you know, we were quite young still, so his dad would drive us. But we would do that almost every weekend. Go see something at Colossus, and it was just like this amazing experience. Like, first of all, like, you know, way bigger screens and sound than we were used to. Second, they had like regular non-popcorn food items that you could buy. What luxury is this?
Yeah.
You know, and there was an arcade. Yeah. I think there was a bar upstairs. Not that we went to that.
Long. But it didn't last as long as expected.
But it was insane. Like that just felt like going to another world.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then when Mission opened theirs too, we go there. Mm-hmm. There was always a BP. We go get a pint. We didn't get a pint. We'd always get a pitcher.
Yeah.
And you'd have pitcher of beer and pizza, and then have to race over to the movie. So those are those memories.
Yeah.
So when it came to Spider-Man,
yes,
when No Way Home happened for you, and you got to see Toby, and you got to see.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Bullshit.
I definitely went opening weekend.
Was that pure joygasm for you?
Oh my goodness!
I know that you saw it because you saw it before me, and then I sent you the meh gif, and
that killed me a little on the inside. I was waiting so long because I went I think I went on the Friday night, right? And you went on the Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So I went and we went to like the late show on Friday because seats obviously booked up fast. So we didn't get home until very late. I went to bed. I woke up, and by the time I woke up, I knew that he would, be on his way to the theater soon. And I was all excited, and I waited and I waited and I waited, and I texted him. Finally, when I knew he'd be home, I was like, "So, how was it?" And the response I get was meh. Meh. And I kid you not, like my face just sunk. Like,
because then I had to take kiddo home and then go do some groceries, and then it was like another hour before I responded.
So I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this. I
thought we were friends.
I thought we were friends. I don't know if we can still be friends anymore, because this is the best. This movie may be one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Oh.
Yes. Well,
I'm apparently a really bad friend.
Only in like most of the ways, but
only in most of the ways. I save everything that I want to do at work for you.
Oh, that's
so like
awesome.
Anytime I feel frustrated and it's gonna like burst out in a way that will get me fired, I give it to you.
Wow.
That's how much you're loved.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's how much you're loved.
Yeah, it definitely feels like love. That's how I would describe it. Yep. Anyways,
I didn't say I wasn't broken.
We're all a little broken.
Anyways, back to
so yes, seeing this for the first time. So obviously there was a lot of speculation ahead of time.
Yeah.
There was and there was enough speculation to the point that I went into this movie feeling like if those two, Toby and Andrew, don't show up, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I didn't want to be in that position. I did not want to be in that position. I wanted to, on some level, believe that all of their denial was accurate, and that, it was just going to be a nice little Spider-Man Tom Holland picture, and be fine with that. But I wasn't. I was not going to be fine with that. There was no way I was going to be fine with that, because the trailer already showed the original Doc Ock, the original Goblin, and the original Electro, and Sandman too, I think. Was Sandman? Yes, was Sandman?
And Lizard was in there too.
Was Lizard in the
trailers?
Was he? Okay. Yeah. So at this point, I was like, okay, you're going to bring all of these other characters from all of the other franchises and not this. Okay, well, I appreciate your attempt at secrecy here. So I was pretty dead set. But even having that expectation that we were going to see these people on screen again as Spider-Man, there was no comparison to actually seeing, and I'm sorry if this is a spoiler for anyone who has not seen the movie. It should not be, but watching Andrew Garfield step through that portal, knowing full well that was not Tom Holland, made my heart probably happier than it has been since before the pandemic, I want to say. Because I knew that. And as happy as I was like, oh, and Toby's not going to be far behind. I knew Toby was not going to be far behind. And no, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was there. So, I mean, in the end, it was absolutely a thrill to see Willem Dafoe again. Alfred Molina, who, the second Spider-Man film in that franchise was my hands down favorite for a very long time. So seeing all of those people come back was absolutely delightful. Seeing all of those people come back and seeing all the Spider-Man come back, and just how it was orchestrated so beautifully that you didn't feel like anyone was being cheated or didn't get enough time or was just, it was all just a masterpiece.
Yeah.
There's no other word for it. It was masterfully done.
So do you feel now that your cinematic journey is complete?
Yeah, I never need to watch another movie ever again. I am officially retired.
Yeah.
From cinema.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a good ride, but
so like you're dead set that you never watch another movie again.
no, I think I would rather die.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good to know. That's appreciative.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gotta be a good experience though, especially being something that made you interested in cinema. Could this have possibly then reinvigorated your curiosity for cinema? Because with that level, then you're saying that like it brought you into wondering about more movies. And did this peak, or is it just my ambiance that brings you to the?
It's your cinematic musk that I follow.
You like that?
Breathing it all in, yeah.
Beer and fries, pizza,
potatoes.
Next time, cup of red. The potato
someone's out there with like a little tally sheet marking every time we mention potatoes. Did you catch that one? Yeah. But
for Christmas, you're getting a bag of potatoes.
Oh gosh, I hope not. That's what I got last year.
Just get a little satchel of potato. No, I gotta get you onion rings.
Ooh, maybe get like. Oh yeah, get like a bag of onions, a little bag of like I don't know.
Everything to make onion rings at home.
Everything to make onion rings. Oh, flour. Yes. I don't have this in abundance. Great. To answer your question though, I don't know if it sort of reignited my interest in cinema because honestly, I don't think it's ever de-ignited. But I will say this. I think after watching Avengers Endgame, there was a point where I was thinking, I don't know if I'm ever going to be this excited about a movie ever again, or this like or feel like have such a strong emotional reaction to a film, because I mean, not only was it an amazing movie, the buildup towards this movie was years in the making and so incredibly epic. And then to get, the absolute biggest payoff I'd seen on screen in a very long time. I truly had this moment of afterwards of, am I ever going to be this excited by a movie again?
Yeah.
Because like, how do you top, something that's been building for, over 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. And I think watching this Spider-Man movie, I definitely got to that point again. And I realized, there's the just because, you feel like this strong emotional tie doesn't mean that, you're not going to be able to feel that again. And they're not going to be able to do something that is going to be as equally moving to you. So I wouldn't say it reignited my love of movies, but I would say it sort of reignited my faith in movies, that there's still going to be stories out there that are going to inspire and delight and entertain me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. So now we have 2 costumes that you need to wear.
Okay.
You need a Spider-Man costume and you need a Captain Planet costume. So the spandex is alive with what's inspired you.
I need a lot of spandex in my life, apparently. I've only ever worn spandex once in my life, and it was not by choice. Okay.
This is a fantastic story right now.
This
takes a cake for everything.
We
don't need to know the other 3. We need to know more about the spandex.
Okay, so it is. I know the buildup makes it seem like it's a really great story, but it's actually a really boring story.
It just depends on how you tell it.
Okay, so there I was.
Okay, we're already in. Those words set things up in motion.
I was one of a group of many warriors traveling to a distant land for a competition
Even better.
involving the volleying of balls.
Okay.
And the enemy, we were on enemy turf.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a lot of intimidation tactics being used. There was shouting and cheering, and in the distracting cacophony, I had forgotten my gym shorts, my uniform shorts. So I was left with the slim pickings of the host school's lost and found.
Oh, excellent.
And digging through this lost and found, the only thing that was even remotely close to an appropriate type of short was these teeny tiny spandex bike shorts.
It seems like a plant.
And I will not go into the details of how I finagled my rotundity into these tiny shorts. But needless to say, there was tears, there was pinching, and there was extreme tucking, the likes of which I had never experienced before. Sometimes I wonder how they ever untucked. Sorry. Yeah, so that's about it. I had to
this story you said was not interesting, but it's very interesting. There's a lot of emotional depth to it. It actually feels like it could be a sitcom episode.
It totally could have been a sitcom,
right?
Episode. Yeah. We did go on to win the tournament though. So whether or not the spandex helped, I can't say for certain.
No, it totally did. It was your feather.
Do you think it was my feather?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should wear more spandex.
Yeah. Do you think other areas of my life would improve
if
I wore spandex?
Yes.
Just unequivocally.
Totally yes.
Okay. No, you don't need to stop and think about that.
Not at all.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No. I think on Monday you should walk in to work in spandex.
Okay. Now,
head to toe.
Underneath my clothes?
No.
Oh.
Not at all.
No. See, here's the thing. I work with a very unforgiving group.
That is okay. It's how you walk.
It's how I walk. So I just got to own the spandex.
Yeah, you have to Travolta it.
Oh.
Yeah. That much raw intensity, like grease.
Yeah, you need a lot of grease to get me out of it. Oof. Did I mention the tucking? Yeah. Oh. Now,
did you know that actually tucking involves placing the testicles back into the pelvic cavity?
I did not. But as I have stated, I always learn something from this podcast. So, now I do.
Yes.
So, okay, perhaps it was not official tucking. I'm not even convinced that the testicles went in the same place. Like each testicle, I think, had to have its own separate
they went on
pocket dimension.
Their own journeys.
Yeah. Yeah, they went their separate ways. Eventually they reunited. Having learned much of this world. But
that is a brilliant story. That is like I feel like that
a tale of two testicles.
You should write this. This should be a sitcom.
The Testes Chronicles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that whole story feels like a sitcom. You should write a series. But limited Netflix series.
A limited Netflix series about
not tucking your testicles, but like Adventures in High School.
Adventures in High School.
That could have been one. You could have that.
I could. I don't know how I'd pitch that.
Well, you have to build more than just the spandex story, but
I guess. But that just seems like
call it My Life in Spandex. Like,
can't I?
Well, you could.
I couldn't call it that because I've not spent my life in spandex. I have not.
Maybe you should. Because you won a tournament. You literally won a tournament because you put spandex on. Like Spider-Man. That's how it inspired you. You put those spandex shorts on and you were like, I am fucking Spider-Man right now. And you volleyed those balls to win the tournament. That's what I heard.
Okay, but I think you're maybe sort of like just pushing under the rug the traumatic
think how Spider-Man
build
feels.
up.
Think how Spider-Man feels every time he puts those tights on. Did you know one of the actors actually apparently wore butt pads in No Way Home?
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
I can't remember. I never read the article. I was lazy, I'll be honestly.
Was it like just a background character?
Not Holland.
It was a main character.
It was one of the Spider-Men.
Oh, okay. I would have said Aunt May.
So no, it was like either Tom or Toby or Garfield.
Not Defoe, because damn.
No.
Those juicy cheeks, though.
They apparently wore butt pads.
Wow.
In their costume to help enhance their butt.
Well,
nothing is real.
That's true. But so are you saying I should wear butt pads in spandex as well?
You could.
What?
Because this is a great path we're going down.
Well, it's funny. This is actually not the first time that Mike has tried to dress me a certain way. When we were first in school together, he had this obsessive idea of dressing me as a pro wrestler with tassels. Tassels absolutely everywhere. Do you remember this?
And this ties back to Spider-Man.
Does it?
You are Macho Man. You are.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Maybe that's what you remind me of me.
Maybe that's what it is.
You remind me of the guy. I've got you in the ring for 3 whole minutes. You ain't going saw is ready. Yeah.
Yes. I remember the bone saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Who knew that Spider-Man's origin story was also my origin story?
Exactly. And it tied us together.
Deep
down.
With a tassel that will never break.
Right? And with that, Bruce Campbell's in that. And you have not watched any of the Bruce Campbell Evil Dead films.
Who's Bruce Campbell?
Exactly.
I'm kidding. I know who Bruce Campbell is.
That's the problem. But
no, you are correct. I have not watched anything to do with the Evil Dead or whatsoever. I actually thought it was a band. So
that's disappointing.
Yeah, well, I realize that there's a lot of shame that you feel surrounding me. And I don't know that covering myself and embracing spandex is going to reduce that shame.
A little.
Okay.
It'll bring me great joy to get those photos. That'll brighten my day. Wait till about noon and send me that photo. And I think my day will be much better.
You'll just have to check out my TikTok. Spandex Nation.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Please don't Google Spandex Nation. You're going to see things that are definitely not me. And please don't assume that the things you see are me.
They are him.
They are
all of them. Everything. Don't believe any of his lies.
No. Because see, they have their faces covered a lot of the times in these pictures. Why do I know this?
That's actually
this opens a whole other string of questions I'm not prepared to answer.
I don't think we have time for that.
Ooh. Yeah. Should we just try and squeeze in some more movies and TV maybe?
So we have Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Mm-hmm. We have Spider-Man from 2000.
Yes.
Right? Which is fantastic.
Yes.
So what is another form of media or TV or movie that inspired you to be the magnificent beast you are today?
Okay. Well, it's going to be another television show, and this is not an animated one. And I think this is also one that you're not super familiar with, and that actually makes me a little bit sad, but at the same time,
we all have shame.
But I don't know if any amount of spandex will fix this. So
for me or for you?
For you. So Now this is a show that I grew up watching with my family, and we did not have cable growing up, so it was we were very limited in the television that I had up until I was about 13. I did have my grandparents on the weekend where I would watch all the cartoons, so I did at least get to enjoy that. But like normal network television shows, we were very limited. I think we had like 3 channels that you could get with the rabbit ears.
Yeah, usually CBC, CTV, and Global.
Yeah, something like that.
Occasionally the French channel.
Yeah. So, but one thing that was a staple of at least one of those channels, and I can't recall which one, was the Star Trek series.
Oh, okay.
And that was always something that I watched with at least my mom. We obviously we didn't watch the original when it aired because that was a tad before my time. Yeah. Kind of a little before her time as well too. But we did watch The Next Generation together. Okay. The Next Generation, I believe, began airing in 88. Yeah. And I would have been probably about, well, I'm not going to say how old I was because we're just not going to share that information. I was 37. No.
That got creepy.
But yeah, it was something that we always watched together. And then we continued right on through with Deep Space Nine, and then Voyager, and then Enterprise after that. So Star Trek was always a big part growing up because there were not within that limited selection of programs that we were able to watch. There were a lot that were maybe too violent for me to watch as a kid, or things that I was not in any way interested in. But that was, I think, one of the first shows that we kind of were able to like bond as a family over and really truly enjoy together. So it was, for me, it was kind of a symbol of family time and bonding. And I just absolutely love the concept of Star Trek. I love the concept of, exploration, and I've always been a huge sci-fi fan. One of the first time I ever had like a decent amount of money for a child to spend at a toy store. Thank you, Uncle Mike. The first thing I bought was a lights and sounds model of the Enterprise from The Next Generation. And I think I got a phaser and a communication badge. And then later that year for Halloween, my grandmother actually sewed me a Star Trek uniform.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's always just been this.
That would have all been Playmates product too. So
probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just all. There's so much joy and good memories and associations with this series just because of the people that I experienced it with in my life. But also, I mean, Star Trek was great because it tackled a lot of real world issues in a sci-fi setting. Yeah. There was always, racism, things like racism and even sexism. It talked about, dealt with drugs and addiction and even environmental issues. And, but it was all within this like magical sci-fi setting. Your students would hate it because it was like you were learning without actually learning.
Right.
So they would have hated it. But yeah, I found the characters really compelling. I mean, Jean-Luc Picard, is there really a better father figure to look up to? Really out there? He's like he's tough. He's suave with the ladies. He drinks Earl Grey tea, and he drinks it hot. None of this iced tea nonsense, right? Yeah, and one of my favorite quotes from that comes from that series comes from Jean-Luc Picard, and I'm remembering it badly, but it essentially states that it's possible to try your best and not succeed. And that's not failure. That's just being human, you know, and that is such a huge lesson.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us sometimes miss out on because there is so much pressure put on us to be the perfect student, the perfect, you know, wife, the perfect husband, the perfect whatever. And, you know, there are going to be times where you can do everything right and still fail.
Yeah.
And it's a hard lesson to accept, but it's so important to understand that it's not the end of the world. Life goes on, and there will be another day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was definitely a huge influence for me.
That's a good message. That's a good feeling there. Mm-hmm. So Picard is your like go-to from that series then?
You know, of all the series that I've watched, The Next Generation is still my favorite. You know, I can still go back and rewatch it to this day.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously the technology back in the late 80s, early 90s was not the most stellar, but I enjoy the storylines. I still enjoy the characters. It's something that I could just comfortably watch on repeat.
Yeah.
You know, and not ever really get sick of. So yeah, I'm actually rewatching Enterprise right now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, hands down, The Next Generation is my favorite. And yeah, Picard is he's my guy. I love Picard. I love Worf. I mean, the comedic interactions when you have a character like Worf and a character like Data who's, you know, mystified by emotions and things like that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining.
That's awesome. Yeah, Star Trek for me, you know, it's hilarious that I have a lot of friends that love Star Trek and I never could get into it. And it's the weirdest like moment. Like some of my closest friends are Star Trek fans. And I don't know if it was just never showing maybe an episode or something that was pinnacle, like must see, because my buddy showed me the movies more than anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so then I just had a hard time getting into some of those, especially like the old, like he was a huge Shatner fan, right? Like,
right.
And so they were so dry, right?
Yeah. I think starting with the movies is the wrong way to get into that show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. If you have no previous connection to those characters, yeah, I think it would be kind of dry and not as entertaining for sure.
But I totally understand and respect the significance of that series, of series,
yes.
Right, and what they do, and I believe that the show does things better than say the movies could for their all their social commentaries and whatnot. So. Yeah, it's one I know Katie really enjoys the rebooted ones, and that's...
I do as well. I really like them. I was really happy. I remember watching the first one actually we went and watched it as a family.
Yeah.
So and we loved it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was that perfect mix of nostalgia, but also giving us something new and expanding on what we already know and loved about the material. So yeah, fantastic.
So I'm assuming she would be the one because she likes that deeper science fiction. So she'd probably be the one to be able to actually break into, say, a Star Trek, if anything, because it's more of the science base. So I'm really surprised that she hasn't herself broken into it. But
you gotta do something about that.
Well, I say that's gonna be after your avenue. You have to talk her into that.
Okay.
Tell her to watch The Next Generation. Maybe she'll give it a try. I'll sell it.
Yeah.
Totally do it.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll. None of that's in there. But you know what? You are gonna.
Then you
love
lost her. Then you lost her. The moment you said there was no sex, she was out.
Darn. No, I mean there's certainly off-screen sex.
Ooh,
there is. There's drugs. There are drugs. There's music, but there's not a lot of rock and roll that I recall.
Right.
Picard plays the flute.
Oh.
So
That's
Yeah.
you've set the bar high.
I have set the bar now. Yeah.
Now maybe if you said the clarinet, she'd be there.
Oh no.
See, she usually doesn't listen to the episodes, so
Commander Riker plays the trombone.
Oh.
So, he's big into jazz.
Yeah.
So
do you have a favorite arc out of that series?
Oh, I have many favorite arcs, but
favorites.
Oh gosh. Any of the bigger arcs involving the Borg, because the Borg are just simply such a terrifying threat. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know much about.
Yeah, the ones that assimilate you.
Yeah, they're this part of their hive. Basically, they're.
See, I bet you didn't expect that, did you? I saw the movie.
Oh. Yeah, it's this cyborg race. They share a collective hive mind, and they basically assimilate other cultures. So, they're really terrified. They also their big thing is they can adapt to other civilizations' technology. So if you try and use your weapons on them, their shields will eventually adapt to whatever kind of weapon fire, and then your weapons are useless. And you're pretty hooped.
Yeah. So
and they have these big scary ships called Borg cubes, and they are literally these big mechanical looking cubes. And so there is an arc where Picard is captured and actually transformed into a Borg, and that is there. It was a two-parter. I think it was like a season finale, season premiere type thing, and those always killed me because they had these two-parters that were always these huge cliffhangers.
Yeah.
And you excuse me. And then it would be like, May, and you'd have to wait until September or October. And that just I hated that. Like that was
the best thing about TV.
It was.
Because now we don't have cliffhangers.
We don't. But what we also had back then that I hated almost as much was, you think you're sitting down to a new episode and it's a rerun.
Oh yeah.
And I hated that so much.
Now for those that are younger and don't understand this, there was an age of television that you didn't have PVRs. You didn't have on demand. You would just turn your TV on at a certain time and hope it was a new episode.
And you had to get back before that commercial break ended because there was no pausing of live television.
Yeah.
There was no rewinding. No. Oh, no.
Yeah.
You missed something, you were hooped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was any arc that involved the Borg was always really good. Honestly, any of those two-parters, they were just always they were done so well to make you just absolutely dread not knowing what happened next.
Yeah.
And so I really like that. There wasn't actually, the thing is, there wasn't a lot of sort of like running arcs like throughout the seasons. Like there was not a lot of recurring themes or even characters except for maybe like Q. But beyond that, I mean, every episode was pretty self-contained.
Yeah.
And usually those two-parters were saved for, as I said, the finale or the premiere. So, there weren't a lot of large arcs. One recurring theme that I did enjoy was of course, they have a amazing holodeck where they can go do recreational things as well as basically anything. But there's a recurring thing where Data would play out as Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
And play through Sherlock Holmes on the holodeck with LaForge as his Watson, and those were always entertaining.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we got Captain Planet, Spider-Man, Star Trek.
Yes, all very similar.
Lower alphabet,
as you can see.
So we know what letters you determined to.
Yep, S and C. Those are my go-tos on Wordle too. So, you play Wordle?
No.
You should play Wordle.
I don't even know.
Be like everybody. You don't even know. Oh my gosh. How can you claim to be a pop culture podcast?
I'm slowly pulling away from social media.
Oh.
If you notice, I'm actually like deviating away from all my socials. But how do you run a podcast and do that? I don't know. I really don't know.
Interesting. Okay, I will take over your socials. It's fine. I will run your social media. We'll slowly be converted over time, but you know, the main brand will stay the same.
To Dad Jokes
Incorporated. Yeah. Yes, but anyway, no, Wordle. It's fun. It's just, you know, silly word game that you do every day, but you guess a random 5-letter word. You have 6 guesses. You don't get any hints or clues. So you just plug in anything. The letters will come up either gray if they're not in the word, yellow if they're in the word but in the wrong spot, or green if they're in their correct letter in the correct spot. And then it eliminates on your little keyboard the letters that you've already used, and then so you gotta guess this word in 6 tries or fewer. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's fun. My family and I do it every day. My mom's usually the first, and she'll. I get the text message sometime between usually 5:30 and 6 in the morning with her results.
Yeah,
because you can post your results without posting what the answer is.
Oh, okay.
So what you'll see is a grid, and you'll see the either how many yellows, how many greens, or whatever until you see the all greens. So, so she posts that first thing in the morning. I'm usually the next one to do it because I'll do it on the bus into work. Yeah, and then my brothers will do it throughout the day at some point. So anyway, fun game, but
interesting. Yeah, well, I'm glad that it's explained because I was like. Seeing people post it, I'm like,
you'll see people post it on. I don't understand why people post it necessarily on Facebook every day, but you know, it's cool. It's a nice little kudos, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess Wordle then
Wordle is the next thing that has influenced me the most because before Wordle, I actually never bothered to learn the alphabet.
Excellent.
I didn't see the point. I had a series of letters that I needed, and beyond that, I had no interest in them. So
ABC 1 2 3, talking you and me.
Whoa. I don't think anyone needs A, B, and C. I mean, that's just a little excessive. You know, there's really our alphabet could be 10 letters and we would be fine. So
K.
No, we don't need that one.
Yeah, you do.
Why do you need K?
Everyone uses K.
No. Simple.
How are you? K.
Oh, I hate people that do that though.
IDK.
Yeah, but like if I'm like, hey, I'm sorry I haven't responded in a while or I haven't talked to you in a while. I've been really busy. Love to see you sometime and hang out. And
you've now used more than 10 letters.
Well, yeah, but that's because I've grown accustomed to my lavish and luxurious ways of having 26 letters. You know, I'm just saying we don't need them all. We could get away with 10.
With K.
No, K is so superfluous.
No.
Anything
I'm assuming J is on that list, right?
J is the most important letter in the history of Did you know that J names there are more J names than are more popular than any other first letter?
So you're super common is what you're saying.
I am super common.
I'm a basic bitch.
I am the most basic bitch when it comes to names. Yeah. You know, John, James,
Jinkerheimer Smith,
Jacob. Yes. Even them. Yeah, no, it's
you tell our age, right? It's right there. That joke that fell flat.
Oh yeah, everyone stopped listening a while ago. It's fine. I'm pretty sure at the 27th potato, most people were just like, and I'm done. Thank you.
You know what? If you were really deep into the world, you would realize it was all just Foster's Home for Imaginary Pets. Reference.
Okay.
And Aguado's love of potatoes.
Do you want to hear a fun fact about potatoes while we're still on the subject?
Sure.
Okay. So
potatoes now.
It's recently come to my attention that everything on our planet is or is not a potato?
Oh.
Let that sink in for a minute.
I can't eat my sofa though. It's not a potato.
That's right. But it's because it's part of this world. So it is not a potato or it is a potato. Is it a potato? I don't think your sofa is a potato.
That's okay. Can I get some potatoes?
Yeah, that's your right as a Canadian to acquire potatoes at your leisure.
Okay.
On demand.
On demand? Just
yes.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Monkey boy, give me potatoes.
Do you have a monkey boy?
I wish.
Your son has a name.
I wish I had a cool monkey servant that would make me French fries.
Or coffee.
Yeah, that too.
You train a barista monkey first. Then you can work on a fry monkey.
I think a fry monkey actually could get more use out of.
Would you call a fry monkey a chipmunk?
Oh, no, because he's not a chipmunk.
But he's a monkey chips.
I know, but I just know. Because I just think of Chip and Dale.
Chip and Dale.
Rescue Rangers.
Yes. Thank you for not leaving me hanging.
Yep.
That would have been awkward.
No, I tickled that itch. Hey, what do you think of that trailer? Did you watch that trailer?
I didn't. I forgot about it until just now.
Egads. Now you got homework.
Now I've got homework to do. Yes.
Okay.
Beyond the homework of coming up with answer number 4 and 5.
Yeah, you're stalling.
We're circling back to that. We're slowly circling back to that. Okay. So number 4, we're going to go back to
deep into the ether.
Deep into the ether of films once again, because we've done 2 shows and one film, I believe. Yep. So movies that have influenced me. I think we're going to go back to a film that I just, I really hate to say this because it's kind of a cliche.
Showgirls?
Yes. Oh my God. How did you know?
Demi Moore striptease?
Wow. It's like you're just inside my mind right now.
I'm sure those are the ones you went to the theater to see.
I most certainly did. Yes. No, and it's going to sound like a cliche and it's going to feel like a cliche and I almost don't want to say it, but Star Wars.
Not a cliche.
I was, I don't remember the exact age I was, but I was probably, no, that's not true. I think I was 10 because I remember I watched it with, my mom and my stepdad. So, I would have been, I think I was about 10 and I just was blown away by that movie.
Yeah. As
a kid watching that for the first time, it was incredible. Watching it later on as an adult, far less impressive. And I'm sorry if I get hate for this, but it's a great movie. Okay. It is a great movie, but I'm just going to say it. Luke is a whiny little bitch, and no disrespect to him, losing his family, that's tough and all that. But oh my gosh, if I had spoken to my parents the way he spoke to his aunt and uncle and the way he whined them, I would have been smacked across the face so hard. Like, I think it's interesting to see a movie like that as a kid and then see it again as an adult because your perspective changes so much. Oh, totally. Based, on your own experiences and based on other movies you've seen. So, me as a 10-year-old, I don't have a huge movie database that isn't cartoons to compare this to, right? This is one of the first times I'm seeing like, an adult movie, not that kind of adult movie, like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, there was a look. You guys didn't see it, but there was a look.
There was no look.
There was so many looks.
That's just the beer talking.
Oh, the beer speaks volumes.
Because there's no fries.
Damn.
There's no potato.
Where's the potatoes?
You're going to make some mashed potatoes soon.
But yeah, so as a kid, I absolutely loved that movie. Though I was intrigued by the plot. I know, watching it later on, you can really see how it is, as they say, based around a lot of samurai and Western tropes. But again, I had not seen any of that. So for me, it's not. I'm going in with the eyes of seeing it as someone who's never watched a Western or never seen a samurai movie.
Yeah.
So this is all new to me. And so, I'm almost grateful for that.
Yeah.
Seeing it so young and seeing it with such fresh eyes, because it really cemented an appreciation for the movie that I don't think I would have had necessarily if I had seen it, as an older person. It was nice when I was in my teens and having the opportunity to see it in the theaters again when they brought them back out for the special edition right before. Was it before the Phantom Menace? Yeah, it was right before the Phantom Menace came out. And I went and saw all of them back in the theater again, and that was a great experience. I mean, there was a couple of new little scenes here and there. I wouldn't exactly say it's a different film because of it. But it was.
I think the only one that they really kind of did a little bit more dirty was Return of the Jedi with the dance number.
Yeah.
Because everything else was like just filler.
Yes.
Right?
It was 100% filler, like ships flying through the sky.
Yeah. More buildings.
Yeah, more buildings, a little alien walking across the street or something. It was, but yeah, I remember watching that movie and thinking,
you're Han Solo.
I was thinking that I was Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
I felt it was the first time that I felt like I think I have a destiny that's maybe a little bit greater than that of a normal 10-year-old.
There you go.
I thought I am a Jedi.
That's fantastic.
I just haven't figured, nobody else has figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I was meant to be. Up until then, my aspirations were to be a Jeep, a la Transformers. But then I realized, no, I think that I am going to be a Jedi.
You were like, I'm either going to transform or I'm going to wield a lightsaber.
Yeah. And if I happen to transform and wield a lightsaber, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. That's even better. That's even better. Yeah. Yeah, it was the first time watching a movie and being like just inspired to be that character and inspired to, just want to emulate them and be like them. And, like I said, a lot of movies that I'd seen up until that point was mostly like Disney movies and animated things and cartoons. So, it's a different experience to see like people actually doing these things versus an animated version. Yeah. So, that was, I think it's safe to say that Star Wars really sparked my imagination and my creativity in a way that had never happened before. And as my creative outlet, I do a lot of writing, and that didn't start really seriously until I was about, I would say 16. But I think just in terms of exploring with my imagination, I think that probably entered a new era after seeing Star Wars.
Yeah. I've never seen it. So I love how you can react. It's bullshit, but you still just have that moment.
It's that moment of like,
wait, what?
It's the meh all over again. Revenge of the meh. The meh strikes back. Oh.
No, I understand what you're saying. Like that movie brought whimsy to a genre that was pretty stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it was seen, science fiction was actually seen more highbrow almost. Like
yes.
Everything was very like bleak and very white and very just kind of meh, right? And Star Wars crafted into fantasy
Yes.
with the science fiction. It's that perfect mix of fantasy, science fiction melding together.
Yeah, because sword and sorcery meets,
Yeah.
space battles.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that took it to a different realm because it showed that science fiction could be fun,
Yes.
right? You could have these outlandish characters in a world that didn't necessarily have to be so dark and brooding or very methodical, right?
Yes.
Because before that, all the science fiction was pretty much like a Star Trek, only like Star Trek, or
Yes.
just a lot more. I can't even think of a movie that I can think of at the moment, but very, very more thought provoking almost.
Right.
Like it was making more of a point.
Right. Well,
fun,
I would
right?
say, like, for example, 2001: A Space Odyssey would be a good example of that, where it's very
Dry.
yeah, very dry, very kind of science fiction. And so I would, no, I totally,
Even Planet of the
get what you're
Apes
saying.
is a lot more dry of a science fiction outing than a lot of things, or it was really the pulp fiction, just like the B movie, like Cornball, something's attacking and it's large and Godzilla-y kind of.
But
feel,
man,
right?
those apes could act, right? Am I right?
They totally could. That's why I got into acting. It's funny that you say that you were you felt like you wanted to be Skywalker.
Yeah.
I always looked at it and I always wanted to be Han Solo.
Well, that's because you're a scoundrel, right?
I'm the dirty scoundrel.
Who knew I'd actually grow up to be Chewbacca, right?
That's why I became great friends. See, right there.
Right. That's why. I mean, that's us. We're just Han and Chewie.
There we go.
A couple of scoundrels.
Now we've got another Halloween costume.
Now we've got another Halloween. Oh, good Lord. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that'll go good. You could dress up as a Wookiee. I'll be Han Solo and we'll hop in my smart car. And right there, that's brilliance.
The Millennium Falcon.
The thing's small enough, we could probably outfit a little Millennium Falcon
frame
around.
Yeah.
And just drive around.
Totally could.
Because with the muffler falling off, it's kind of like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Put a little bumper sticker, Kessel Run or Bust.
See, this is why we need to work at the same location.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you need to come work at my school because I'm not working at yours.
It's too far away.
It's too far away.
It's too far away.
It's too far away. Okay, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
15 minutes away.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No.
Yeah. So Star Wars definitely a big thing.
Yeah. What are some of the moments that really stuck out in the original Star Wars? I'm assuming you're not talking about the trilogy as a whole. You're talking about like singular.
I'm saying, obviously, after watching the first one, the remaining trilogy followed quite quickly because I was very, very excited to see it. But that first movie, I mean, there's so many great moments, and what I absolutely love about it too was I think it was one of the first times that I appreciated a soundtrack in a movie too, even at that young age, like those sweeping John Williams, just absolutely beautiful music. And
he's definitely a voice of a generation from the 80s to the 90s.
To this day, I still absolutely love his Superman theme too. Like that gets me so jazzed and pumped when I hear it. I hear those opening bars to that. Like, it's pretty good. Him and Elfman, like those guys,
right. And that's the thing. It's like when you think of new film, though.
Yes.
What names do you think of when you think of like soundtracks?
Howard Shore.
He's dead.
Damn.
Not to be a downer, but like but like what did Howard Shore do for you that you think of?
Besides Lord of the Rings.
But did he do anything else?
He did other things too, but I remember looking up. I remember looking up other things and thinking, oh yeah, that is Howard Shore.
Yeah.
And that was probably him. But
I can't say his name, but Michael Giovanni something.
I don't know.
He's done everything. That's the thing. Like he's Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man stuff. Yeah. The new Batman stuff. The
Gore Verbinski, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I always loved the Pirates.
That.
No, that was that was not. Was that the director? Oh my god.
He's the director.
Then who did the soundtrack?
Hans Zimmer.
Was it Hans? Oh jeez. Oh man. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna hand you my nerd credentials. You can tear them up and suspend them. I'm just gonna see myself out. No, you're absolutely right. It was Hans Zimmer.
But see, he didn't do the first one.
Who did the first one?
It was his assistant, and I can't remember his name. But then he took over.
You're just ruining everything right now for me.
Yeah, I can't say his name because I butcher names.
Giacchino?
See? It's not as easy.
Giacchino?
Yeah, right? So like Up, Star Trek, Ratatouille.
I've never seen any of those.
The Batman. You know, the Spider-Man trilogy, the Incredibles, Jurassic World.
So you're saying all of these things. I don't know what they are.
The Planet of the Apes movies, Rogue One, Doctor Strange.
Rogue One.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got Inside Out. Like he's done a lot too. He took over from Randy Newman, basically.
And up until this point, I would have never known his name.
You know, that's one of those times where it sucks that people like you don't hear that name. Like you don't hear it, so it's hard to even.
Probably because nobody can pronounce it. That's the only reason he's not more famous. Right? You know, he should just be like Kenny G and just go Michael G. But then he risks, of course, being thought of as related to Kenny G. I don't know.
That's fantastic. I'm trying to look up who originally did the Pirates of the Caribbean. Because it was not Hans Zimmer.
Oh, I don't know.
His name is like taking forever because you got to click on like 50 million places.
You didn't research this ahead of time. You didn't research
because I didn't expect
who did the soundtrack for the first Pirates.
It was not happening.
This is information you should just always have.
You know what? I do, but it's not here.
Oh, okay.
It's somewhere else in my mind. Klaus Badelet.
Oh, that is a made-up name. That is totally a made-up name. I don't think he even exists. No. Oh, what? You got like a blurry photo that doesn't even show his face? Yeah, that could be anybody.
Yeah, he was.
That could be me. I could be Klaus.
He was like Hans Zimmer's like protege or something.
Oh, okay.
Hans Zimmer came back and like took the movie back and was like, no, it's my.
See, Hans Zimmer. Now there's a believable name,
right? Yeah. I guess there's also Junkie XL. Juicy. No, it's Junkie.
Well, you're just making stuff up now again.
Justice League.
What?
The Snyder cut. Because Elfman did the Whedon cut.
Yes, that's right. What is your favorite Elfman soundtrack?
Batman.
Yeah, right? Batman. Is there anything better than that? Is there, like, I used to listen to that.
Actually, okay. Well, Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice is really good too.
That's
Beetlejuice is really good. Yeah.
So, his music in his early days was amazing. Mm-hmm. And then
my family is a fan of his early musical stuff.
Oingo Boingo.
Yep.
Yeah. Wait, you know Oingo Boingo? Damn.
Did I just go up a notch?
Yeah, you did.
Did I reduce some shame?
You did.
Yes.
Like his Oingo Boingo stuff. His Oingo Boingo from his farewell concert is my favorite.
Okay.
Because the live Oingo Boingo concert music, if their albums have sounded like that concert, they would have been a lot bigger.
Interesting.
But the studio stuff was so new wave synth.
Yes.
That it's definitely not my favorite.
Okay.
But the farewell concert was just pure punk, ska, rock, grunge.
Right.
That it was just like, if you had done this originally, I think you would have been bigger.
Yep.
Right. Like, and we have that DVD. Like, I love listening to that stuff because like that music on there is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because even some of the slower stuff that they did, like We Close Our Eyes and Useless and Can't See and Mary, like those are just brilliant songs. But all they're known for is Dead Man's Party, right?
Yeah.
So even like I love Cinderella Undercover. That one's a good one too. So like, yeah, no. Dan, and we'll like have to like drink some more beer and listen to Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
There we go. We got an entire Oingo Boingo episode, man.
Woo.
So
don't ask me to spell it. Just don't ask me to spell it.
OingoBoingo.
And Bingo was his name.
Yep, basically. Yeah. his Pee Wee Herman's pretty good too, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I forgot that even existed.
His Scrooge music is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
He's really good.
The early stuff is fantastic. Now his music's pretty forgettable. Like, I know he did Spider-Man. I know that, right?
Yeah.
I respect that and I enjoy it. But I don't think anything will beat his Batman theme. Like those horns.
No,
like that. That's just quintessential.
It so perfectly fits the character.
Right.
They just, I couldn't imagine anything else.
And that's like no other theme so far for Batman has been able to top that.
No.
And it's brilliant.
All right, what about no Batman?
Like I can play that on my ukulele.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So it's just doom. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now you're just kind of cheapening it, but yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Okay.
But no, even the 66 theme, no, that 89 theme, like that's like Insta Wood, like you know it. Like, you get the when even when they reused that in Justice League with the Whedon cut, that was like the best part of that movie.
Yeah,
was like when he was like getting that thug at the beginning.
Yes,
and that theme kicked in.
Yes,
and it was just like yes, like I just want that. That guy, the Michael G.
Michael G.
There's a slight moment in there.
Okay.
So, in the new Batman theme.
Oh, okay.
So, Star Trek, Star Wars.
Yes.
Now we didn't even really finish talking about Star Wars. We kind of like deviated.
We did really kind of deviate.
So okay. Yes. So what are your moments in Star Wars?
Right. So I mentioned the reason I brought up the soundtrack in the first place was because there's just that there's that moment where I think Luke is just kind of looking out over the desert after losing his family and and I think they're just about to leave Tatooine and there's this sweeping theme and I was just I was like, I think that was the first time I was looking at a movie and thought this is just kind of like I recognized it as a thing of beauty, as artistic, and I appreciated it on a level that I hadn't before. And then I think other moments like the classic garbage crusher scene, just such a mix of peril and humor and I loved the blowing up the Death Star. So again, sorry, spoilers. The Death Star does get destroyed on multiple occasions. It comes back. I don't know why they keep thinking the same thing is a good idea, but
it comes back multiple times.
It does, right? So, just that scene where just that moment of triumph and that epic moment during that battle when the Millennium Falcon joins in after they think that Han has abandoned them. And it's just space. I'd never seen such an epic space battle before in a film. And that was really enjoyable. There was not a ton of lightsaber combat, but just the whole idea of a lightsaber sold me on being a Jedi. First of all, like that was a laser sword. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone actually wants to be able to have a lightsaber. Like that's like I think one of the number one.
I think we should normalize lightsabers.
Yeah.
In society, I think that should be just seen as a general useful tool that everyone should have. You know, sure. I mean, you know, you can get a license like with a car or a firearm, but yeah, I think lightsabers should be normalized. It's a shame that the stigma around weaponry is the only reason we don't all have lightsabers, and has nothing to do with the fact that you know, they're product of science fiction. Not really. Not at all. So I find that
corporate greed is keeping it back.
It is corporate greed.
Yeah.
You know what? It's Big Saber wanting us only to use metal swords.
Yep.
And not laser swords.
Because at the end of the day, you can always turn that little dial and it could be a butter knife.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. You can build it. You can change the intensity. Yeah. I'm sure. Scientists out there back me up on this.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Although I feel like maybe using a full-size lightsaber as a butter knife is slightly irresponsible. Cooler? Yeah. I mean, if you want to like
where I went,
spread the butter and toast the bread at the same time, I guess it's sufficient in that sense.
The perfect camping tool. You just cut that loaf of bread. It's already toasted and the butter's melted. It's like a Popeye's biscuit.
Right.
You just put the butter on top of the saber as it cuts through. It's infused. We got it.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. I don't see anything wrong with this. This seems like a well thought out plan.
Each plan is thought out. Just depending on how you execute it.
Oh, don't say execute.
I like how like it is interesting to see that the scene that really spoke to you from that whole film though is the looking out with the two suns.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the prettiest moments within that film.
Yes.
Right. And it's probably one of the most cinematic.
It is.
Out of all the, you know, the scenes in it. Then you went to the humor. So here's a controversial possible statement.
Okay.
Is Star Wars the first MCU tonal film?
Oh, interesting.
Blending science fiction and humor in such a way that it's serious, dramatic, but yet humorous.
Yeah.
Because look how far back that goes. There's probably ones that go even further back than that. Right. But as a mass-produced consumer film.
Huh. That is an interesting thought. I mean, yeah, it's it definitely feels like it was trying to achieve what Marvel does so well, which is, you know, have that blend of serious, comedic, and then just, you know, action, adventure, good fun times, because you're always like Marvel. I think Marvel just does that really well. And it's funny because it's almost become a formula for them. Right. But I love the formula. You know, I know that I'm watching, you know, a formula in front of me, but I don't care because I love it. Works for me. It makes you feel good. It hits all the right notes, you know, and that's why I loved Firefly, the series, because again, it's this amazing blend of science fiction and Western, where you know, two genres that don't seem to go together, and there are some truly devastating moments in that show, but there are also moments where I'm laughing my ass off because it's so well written. So yeah, I feel like Firefly could have fit into the MCU. Yeah. Perfectly in that sense, but yeah.
Now, not to like hot button topic this moment, but how do you feel now about Whedon's work? Knowing that he's actually a shitbag. He's a dirty, dirty, horrible individual that used people in horrible ways.
Yeah.
And still to this day blames them. Like, he literally had the quote. This is where I struggle with separating the artist from the art.
Yes.
Because I'm also struggling that with J.K. Rowling.
Yes.
Right? Because I love the Wizarding World, but she is, terrible.
Yes.
But with Whedon saying that, well, he had never been able to sleep with women that were that beautiful, so he needed to take that opportunity because he feels like he would have lost out if he didn't.
Yeah.
So how does, like, it's a struggle, right? Like, how do you separate? Because there are other people that worked on movies like TV shows like Firefly and worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and stuff like that. So there is those ideas, but like, it is a conversation that I haven't really ever been had yet.
Right.
Like, how do you separate the artist from the art to still enjoy when you find out that someone that you a medium you liked turned out to be an asshole?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is a really good question, and that is a legitimate question because, how do you still enjoy that art without feeling like you're supporting a terrible person, right? And before I get deep into that, I'm gonna actually, because this is relevant, I'm gonna jump ahead and just bring up number 5 for me, because number 5 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the television series.
Not the movie.
No. I apologize if anyone out there is a fan of the movie.
I've been actually wanting to rewatch the movie.
No.
I've been wanting to rewatch the movie because all I remember is Paul Rubens when he gets stabbed and he's like the screaming, the
yeah, does not hold up well.
And if you don't know, Paul Rubens was actually Pee Wee Herman.
Yes. That I did know that. Why are you telling?
I'm telling them.
You're telling them.
Yeah, because
right.
I didn't know. Maybe you didn't know. That was Pee Wee. It was Paul Rubens trying to reinvent himself after his scandal of exposing himself in an adult theater.
Yes.
So
I realized that I've kind of gone away from explaining what the show is for people who don't necessarily know it. But in this case, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the story of Buffy Summers, a teenager who lives in a town called Sunnydale in California, goes to Sunnydale High, and it happens to be sitting on top of a hellmouth. So vampires, demons, beasties of all sorts emerge, and she is the Slayer, the chosen one to protect us all. She's got super strength and a really kick-ass mentor who teaches her lots of cool things, and a group of friends, the Scooby Gang, that help her out along the way. So, the reason that this is on my list is because this is, again, something that was enjoyed by my entire family. I watched
it's a great show.
I watched it with my parents. My younger siblings, I think, found it a little bit later because when it was first aired, I started watching it when it first aired, and they were much too young for it at that point. So, but they did eventually come to it on its own, on their own, and enjoyed it as well. It's one of the few series that I own in entirety on DVD. And yeah, it was just a fantastic show for its, again, you've got your blend of this sort of fantasy genre with a lot of humor and a lot of seriously, intensely dark topics over the course of the series. Yeah. It's one of those shows where, it starts out really the first season as just kind of a monster of the week type of thing, as a lot of these types of shows do. And then as the seasons progress, they just become more complex and intricate and interesting, and new characters get introduced. And it's a delightful gem of a series that I've watched many times.
It is on Disney Plus.
It is. And it's one of those things that I've really considered giving a rewatch at this point. So I think it's on my list anyway.
Yeah.
To see again. But anyway, so going back to Joss Whedon though. So because of Buffy and because of Firefly and then ultimately the first couple of Avengers movies, there was a lot of fangirling over Joss Whedon for my family and for my friends that were also fans. And yeah, it's been really difficult to hear, about the allegations and hear everyone come forward and share these horrifying stories. It's difficult when you have this idealized version of someone, they always say, don't meet your heroes. And so to hear that, someone that had this tiny little dream when you started writing of one day collaborating with, to hear that they are, piece of shit. Yeah. It's hard, and it makes you kind of question, like, oh, should I still be watching this? Should I still be supporting this? Should I still be enjoying this? And I think the answer is more complicated than just yes or no.
Yeah.
I think it is certainly good to, I think we need to be aware of these things. I think anytime something like this comes to light, it is a good thing, because there are people who are being hurt or feeling threatened or have been abused, and that is never okay.
Yeah.
That is never okay. And unfortunately, Hollywood is, as we were learning more and more,
laced with it,
full of it.
Yeah.
Just absolutely full of it. And it's really unfortunate. So do we boycott movies? Do we boycott books and TV series? Are we, by continuing to watch them, are we supporting them? Or by not speaking out, are we also making a statement? Right. So it's difficult. I think you really have to look at it somewhat on a case-by-case basis. Like, for example, with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the reason that I would want to watch it again, the reason that I enjoy it, is because I have such a strong connection to the show as a family bonding experience. Yeah. Some of the characters are especially extremely relatable, and the topics, especially some of the deeper, darker ones, are things that I can relate to. Like, they're things that I've struggled with. And, it's just all put together in this amazing, well thought out, character driven drama that just happens to also have vampires and demons and the supernatural. If I watch it again, I feel like what I am supporting is, it's not just Joss Whedon that was involved in this show, right?
Yeah.
There are hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this, be they in front of the camera or behind the camera. And those are the people I'm supporting.
Yeah.
I don't want to diminish their efforts and the final product that they made by making it all about the one guy who was in charge. Yeah. Right. I feel somewhat in a way like that's blaming a country for the actions of its leader. Yeah. For example, you can't, yes, that person should be held responsible. And I feel like, there are going to be probably more consequences down the road for him. But I don't think necessarily it means that we need to completely boycott what that person has produced or what they're involved in.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're still continuing to behave in the way they are and they're still producing things, perhaps that might be cause to, not boycott the newer stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Really, I think it comes down to a personal.
Done, though. I think
I'm pretty
much done as a producer.
Yeah.
Same as John Lasseter is as a producer, right? So
yeah.
They're.
So yeah, that's kind of my feeling. It's really, if you can watch it and appreciate it for the art and for what other people put into it, then I think, I don't beat yourself up for watching it or enjoying it or whatever.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Sorry for making your fifth choice like so dark and meaningful.
Well,
right?
it's interesting. It's just funny. Like that was my fifth choice going into this, and then you we happen to circle around to that. But
well, the idea, but it's Firefly is a brilliant series, and I love that show. Like it's just hilarious, and because I'm a sucker for a Western, and that's why like Mando and stuff like that is just so good because it's bringing into that Western element and blending with science fiction, and that's Firefly was just and even when they got to do Serenity and all that, like it was just a good everything, right? And then even because I watched Buffy with my mom, right? And that was one of the things when she passed, this is gonna sound horrible, but when she was giving away all her stuff because she knew she was gonna pass away, I was like, hey, I want those. I want Buffy. I want Angel. Like out of everything you have, those are the two things I want. Yes. And she's like, oh, I already gave those away. So like seeing when that showed up on Disney Plus, I was like, oh, cool. I'll be able to watch that stuff again. Show Abe. And and with Katie and stuff like that. And, it's definitely, but then you have those moments. You're like, well, shit, like these memories you have, and you're seeing that, and you just, even for the fact of like, say a lot of the Last Earth stuff with Pixar, you find out how horrible he was, and you sit back and go like, well, damn, like you created this whole world that 1995 Toy Story, like Buzz Lightyear, I freaking love that character, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're reinventing Buzz Lightyear. Yes, right, to put it in a different mode, right. So I think in some forms, especially when it comes to say film and some television, I think you can pull out the art from the artist because so many people put their spin on it. Exactly. Right. And you can find, because they're not necessarily saying that, well, it's no good. There was problems. Yes. Right. For me, I find like in the case of say the Wizarding World, I am having a hard time being excited for the next Fantastic Beasts because Rowling's still writing it, right? And I'm a big supporter of the LGBT community and being able to live your own life and be who you want to be, and especially for trans and all that, because that's one of her places where she's staunch against. I wish Warner Brothers would buy her out and write it their own way. Yeah. And be able to like say peace out. But I think, and that's what I was saying, that's where it gets a little more complicated, where that person is still working and still producing even after all of this stuff has come out, right? Then it seems, for me, that makes it just a tad bit murkier, right? So and I agree with you. It's harder to be excited about it, right? It's harder to feel that, oh, this is the new J.K. Rowling thing coming out, like, oh, this is so cool, because there is that cloud looming over constantly now, and that's not going away. And so I get it. It's tough. So, but let's positivity. What about Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Like, what about it is a positive, life affirming moment? I know you mentioned you'd gone through experiences similar, because I know you fight lots of vampires in your spare time. That's really the biggest thing that I connected with was the vampire. You're the one in your hometown. Yeah, I mean, there's one everywhere, right? Yeah, right. So it happened to be me, and the stakes were high. Sorry. Little vampire humor for you, right? Cut the tension a little bit. Do you cut the tension if you say you're cutting the tension, though? I mean, does that actually work? Probably not. I probably ruined it. No. Okay. You can edit that out, right? Not at all. No. Okay. Buffy, yes. The time that we're at, there's no way Katie's listening to all of this to cut out any of our flubs. This is the balls to the world deep, moment. This is like uncut, unfiltered. Yeah, this is real. Pure us. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Buffy. So now what would you say? The other 2 hours. Oh, no. Not a problem. But this. No. Oh, no.
Yeah. So when I first started watching it, oh gosh, when did it come out? It was 96, 97,
We can find out.
I think.
I'm not as fast on my phone after all those beers.
But yeah, so basically here I am, very close in age to the character of Buffy. And going into the series, I really had no idea what it was about. I wasn't aware of the movie at that
97.
point. 97. Okay.
To 2003.
Yes, that sounds right. So I didn't know anything about it. But
Wait, you hadn't seen the movie first?
No, I hadn't seen the movie first. I knew nothing about the movie.
Lucky you.
Right? Yeah. But I was really into like the sort of like soft horror genre of like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And Goosebumps and that sort of thing. So I thought, I'll give this a try. Yeah. This sounds interesting. It was on YT. It was airing on YTV. Yeah. So I figured can't be that crazy.
Right.
And yeah, I was hooked right away. I enjoyed the humor of it. I mean, she's not unattractive. That definitely helped for a teenage boy. I would have been
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
13, 14. Yep. So, I just gave my age away. Dang it. Dang it. I worked so hard to conceal my agedness and now it's gone. Anyway, yeah. So I immediately connected with the Xander character being just like sort of like the goofy, awkward kid in high school.
Yeah.
That, isn't like, isn't like your stereotypical nerd where he's a tiny kid in glasses who's always got his head in a book, but still very much kind of like that nerdy personality. So yeah, I immediately connected with that character. And then, it's funny because as I got older, as the series progressed, I feel like the series got older as well. Like the content matured, the characters matured. And it was really interesting to be a teenager during that time because you got to see these characters. You really did get to see these characters grow up. Yep. Sometimes it was because of hardship. Sometimes it was just simply because they, were moving on with their lives, going to college, getting married. And I think it was just there was this huge family dynamic too, right? And I don't know, it was just so relatable on so many levels. Yeah. Even though it was about vampires and demons and the supernatural, you just felt like you knew these people and you completely understood and you cared about them. That's one thing the series did so well, is it made you love these people and care about them. And, you felt hurt when they were hurt. And, there was some truly, as I said, devastating moments in that series that just were awful. And then there were some absolutely amazingly comically hilarious moments in that series as well. They did a musical episode.
Yep.
They did a musical episode, which I found out, I think before the season aired, that they were going to do. And I thought, what? Are you serious? You're going to do a musical episode? It was like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. We had it recorded and we watched it, and then we immediately watched it again. Yeah. Because it was so good. Yeah. We did yeah. And to be able and now I think a lot of series do musical episodes. Like
it's common practice.
It's a common practice now, right? But at that time, I don't know that I had seen at least in things that I had watched. So it was a complete shock, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. So yeah. And then this, one of the things that I really appreciate about the series too, was that it ended on its own terms. Mm-hmm. It didn't end because it had gotten stale and it was going to get canceled. The people in charge made the decision, after its 7th season, I believe, that, it was time to bring the story to a close. At its 7th season, time to bring the story to a close. And I completely respect that, because as devastating as it is to lose a show that you completely love, it's so much worse to see it become something you hate.
Yeah.
Or
a chore to watch.
Better to die a hero than live long enough to become the villain. Right?
No, totally.
That was a Batman reference.
It was not a Batman reference.
What?
It's a Christopher Nolan reference.
Right. He had nothing to do with Batman. I forgot. No. Sorry. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Angel?
Yes, of course. Oh, yeah.
Because I remember the Puppet episode. Puppet Angel and Puppet Spike.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? Like
Muppet Angel. Yep. Yes. Yep.
So
is that all you remember from the entire series?
No.
Okay.
I remember the first few episodes. I really like. That was one of the shows though that I enjoyed the beginning seasons more than the end seasons, because the beginning ones were just too cool, right? Because it was like that.
The tone definitely shifted
from like dark and broody to more like humorous and like too much of the Scooby Gang feel, right?
Yes.
Like when that first episode where like he comes from the shadows in the alley and all that.
Yeah.
Like. That was so cool to see. That was almost like the Daredevil kind of like fight feel, right? Which for TV was hardcore at the time.
Yes,
because showing our age too of how long ago TV was, right? So no, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said it. Like in the beginning, it was literally just like, I think 3 main characters in the whole in the series, and then as the series went on, that group expanded. And don't get me wrong, like I loved a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of turned into more of a Buffy clone, and it lost what made it different. Yeah. Right. It was that sort of not the dependence on a group so much as the individual,
right,
from the earlier seasons. Yeah,
totally,
for sure.
So, well, that's good. That's a good all-encompassing moment.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone out hunting vampires?
Well, I mean, professionally, no, but in my spare time. In my spare time, I have never found a vampire.
Have you? I
have found piles of ash on occasion, so I assume that I just missed them.
Yeah,
and someone just got there before me. That's what I choose to believe.
That's what I need to do. I just need to, every time I go camping, collect all the ash and just leave little like ash piles around your house.
One right outside my bedroom window. Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, it's ruined now. You told me what you're doing.
Yeah, but by the time I actually get around to doing it, you'll have forgotten.
That's true. I am very forgetful. I'm not a bright man.
No, I'm very slow at coming up with plans. Executing plans. I can come up with a plan like this. Executing it, give me 2 or 3 years, it'll happen.
Oh, well, that is to your advantage then.
Yep.
Oh.
See, the moment of seeing your reaction from the plan laid in front of you, only to know that if I wait long enough, you will forget about it and make it happen. Then it'll all come full circle. You'll first be shocked and in awe, and then you'll laugh, and then we'll have a beer.
Right.
See, that's the whole point.
Or alternatively, I will completely forget this whole thing, start like preaching about the vampire apocalypse and be committed. And then
one can only hope. One can only hope that is the route that will be taken.
God, at this point, I feel like the vampire apocalypse is not the worst alternative out there. Is that
no,
bad?
Not really. No, it's good.
I mean, I don't know. Would you take vampires over zombies? Or would you think, or would you, like, what?
But vampires are portrayed more sexy, so vampires. I'll get bitten. What else?
What, you don't find a pile of rotting corpse flesh sexy?
No, not at all.
Weird.
No. At least we now know where we both lay. But yeah, no.
Talk about ear holes.
Right? Yeah, no, I think if you were to pick out of the two, like you don't want to become a zombie. At least a vampire, there are benefits to a vampire.
See, I just don't like that I don't have the choice. I want to have the choice.
But if you had a choice, if you were basically like, they're like, hey, you either have to become a zombie or you become a vampire. What are you going to pick?
Vampire.
Yeah.
Because I want free will.
Yeah. Like the only thing you miss out on is.
But I want the choice of whether do you want to become a vampire or do you want to remain human?
Oh well, yeah.
I don't want the choice forced upon me.
Well, yeah. But I think for the most part, though, if they're going to turn you, they're not going to like turn you in the sense that they're going to be like, you have a choice. You're either going to become a vampire or a human. They're going to be like, you're either going to become food or you're going to be a vampire.
But the thing is, I love food.
So you become food.
So
they would eat you.
So they would eat me.
They would drain you, and you would just become a husk of an individual and no longer become living.
So
you become a vampire.
How's that really any different from now? Like,
you become a vampire. You get to party because Blade taught us that vampires party.
Oh, cool. Not interested in that whatsoever. Oh my god.
Lost Boys taught us we could party.
Is that a movie? Is it like a film, Lost Boys?
Actually, it's on Netflix in Canada. It's supposed to be on Netflix in Canada, The Lost Boys.
Isn't that like a Peter Pan thing?
Yes, you'd be right up your alley. It's basically...
Is it based on Peter Pan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I should really check that out then, yeah.
I right now I'm at an awe if you're like you don't know or if you're just like
I'm 100% messing with you.
Cause like it scares me. Cause there's a lot of things where like I think we could go through a list of movies that you haven't seen that could.
I have not actually seen Lost Boys, but I am aware of Lost Boys and the general concepts around it. So.
Yeah, it's basically it's basically the idea of Peter Pan but with vampires. Yeah. In a way. Not 100%.
Yeah.
Loosely based on the idea.
It was based on because it was based on Hook, right?
Oh, there are people probably listening to this podcast. They're like, "Get this man off!"
Oh, be real. There's no one left listening to this podcast right now.
Ouch! I know we've been away for a while, but seriously,
no. I just mean they've listened to me drone for how many hours now?
We are here. Yeah, we're almost at 3 hours.
Yeah,
with
nobody's still listening to this guy.
Everyone is listening because there is.
Everyone's like, I cannot wait for Katie to come back.
There is something to think about in this because there has been a lot of like ability to unpack thoughts. There's been deep conversations within this.
Really? Where was I?
Here, you were giving them. You were giving thought because not only in this moment are you talking about things that impacted you. You're talking about things and how they impact the world. And while those people at home that are listening or on the bus listening.
Losers.
Don't insult our listeners because you'll be listening on the bus. They'll be bringing into their own bias and all that and their wonderment. And they'll be thinking about things and how they interact. And hopefully they're also thinking of the things of those 5 things that really impacted their lives. We went with 5 because 10 was too many.
10 would have been here for another 6 hours.
Which we could do. We could do 5 more things that have impacted Jesse's life because I'm sure there are many more pop culture references or items or movies or film, TV that have impacted you. We could even get into video games or books or tabletop games.
That is a whole other kettle of fish.
That would have impacted in who you are and what has made you such a compassionate being.
Oh,
right?
Shucks.
You know, that. And now I'm never going to be able to look at Buffy the Vampire the same way. I'm just going to think of you as a Slayer. So that's changed
I'm
my
sorry.
world.
I apologize.
I can't wait to see you in tight leather pants.
But does that make it better? Top. Does that make it better or does that make it worse?
I'm not at liberty to say.
So hold on. So full body spandex and leather pants?
Yes.
Huh.
Now, in what order? Like, if there was an order for any of these, which order? Is there one out of all that we've talked about?
Yes.
Because in actuality, you snuck in a sixth.
Did I?
Firefly, yeah.
Oh, well, you
came in.
Okay, Firefly
squeezed
kind of
in.
like an honorable mention, and not so much because I wouldn't say that. Unfortunately, due to its brevity, I can't say that it really influenced me, but it really did cement my love of that kind of cross genre of
exactly.
show.
It influenced you.
Okay, it influenced me.
So you snuck in a six. You were just like,
it's an honorable mention. I'm allowed.
You
to
were
have
like,
an
here's
mention.
one finger, but wait, there's more. Here's a second, right? So,
yeah, that's it's all
exactly
all about my fingers.
Yeah. So, that idea that as much as we think, like you're saying that maybe it didn't influence you, but it did influence you, because I think some of that humor and action, as much as we talked, it spawned from some of the Star Wars-esque, right? And that influenced creators to influence creators from, which has now influenced the biggest, entertainment mogul that is, because Marvel is a force, right?
Oh yes.
And it all comes back to that. Like, that's what we talk about. That's where we're at. We that humor, that action all stems back to those moments, right?
That's true.
And we had our moments today where we talked about, other pop culture items, like, say, Peacemaker.
Yes.
We talked about, James Gunn, like, they're influenced by things from the past that have put them in today, right? Like,
so what I'm hearing is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is enjoying the success it has today because I enjoyed Star Wars.
Yes.
In the previous days.
Yes.
Okay.
That is exactly what happened.
Well, then, to the world, I say you're welcome.
Which is a direct then tie to James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Because that was on the posters. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So, see?
Full circle.
All right.
Gotta love it. Gotta love how it just, the world, man. Again, sorry to the flat earthers, but yeah, all around the globe, just connections.
We're all connected in some form.
Yeah.
So there you have it. There are five things that have created you as a being, that have influenced your influence on the world. Whoa. We're all integral.
Yes.
We're each part of, even if we maybe think of ourselves as a cog that fits into some being, we actually spark other things that allow us to become what we are.
It's true. It is the sort of metaphorical butterfly effect, right? Mm-hmm. Because as much as that is a very real physical thing, it's also a very real metaphorical thing where we really don't know what actions we take that actually influence others. Yeah. We really don't. So it is so, and that's why it's so important, I think, to always lead with, kindness and respect and put good things out into the world, because you never know who you're going to influence. Yep. And the more negativity you put out there, the more you're going to negatively influence. Yep. So, I do believe that that is definitely a real thing.
So there you go. I can't say it better than that. Is lead with positivity, kindness, compassion. Right. And with that, there's not much more we can say for this episode.
No, except, stay rad.
That's true.
I just stole it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you came in too hot.
Yeah.
You were just so excited. You were just.
I know. I apologize.
Here. So I'll give you a second chance to redeem that.
All right.
So we always say thank you for listening and have a good night. And
this episode brought to you by potatoes. Stay rad, everyone. Have a good day.